close family relative of the suspect in Hopkins.
Records show the daycare had been licensed by the state, and Chief Johnson says there was no history of police calls to the Hopkins address. I'm Jennifer King.
This is AP News. In Arkansas,
a Maumelle High School football player had every right to be a little rattled after finding a venomous snake inside his helmet during practice. The student felt an unusual movement inside his headgear following warm-ups last week and brought his helmet to an assistant coach for inspection. A 2-foot cottonmouth was discovered wedged in behind some padding. The pit viper was so reluctant to exit the helmet that police officers had to submerge it in water.
Because he's going to move. There he is.
To force the snake out.
Oh, he's coming.
Animal Services took it to a wooded area far from the school. The head coach then reiterated to the team that players should examine their equipment carefully before using it, checking for insects or maybe something larger and more dangerous. Sound courtesy Dr. Cole Beerbaum, Maumelle Animal Services. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
There are more stories at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
KGUM-FM, Dedido, the talk of Guam. This is Wave 105.1 FM, a Glimpses media radio station.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumont or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
The countdown has begun. Cost You Less is preparing something special for Hagana, and you won't want to miss it. Family fun, live entertainment, community celebrations, and more are on the way. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for details.
Hafaday, Guam! The Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association invites you to the Fair Trade Show, Guam's premier hospitality and food service event. Join us August 19th and 20th at the Hyatt Regency Guam from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Experience hands-on training sessions and exciting culinary competitions featuring professionals, apprentices, and pastry talent. Discover new products, connect with suppliers, and celebrate Guam's hospitality industry. Don't miss Fair 2026. Visit ghra.org for details.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home. Which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
The big summer getaway is still raging at Agana Shopping Center. Every $10 purchase is your ticket to massive prizes. You could win a 75-inch TV, a $100 gas card, a 2-night stay at PIC, and more. Plus, you could win up to $1,000 in United Airlines vouchers to fly anywhere United flies. Keep dropping those raffle coupons in the drop boxes and don't miss the grand drawing on August 15th. Shop and win before time runs out at Agana Shopping Center. Must be present to win. See posters for details.
Hat Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And to keep you cool, Hats also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and based-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
KGUM-FM, Dedido, the talk of Guam. This is Wave 105.1 FM, a Glimpses media radio station.
We're 6 minutes into the hour of 2 o'clock. Welcome to the show. This is the BrightSide right here on Wave 105. We are KGUM FM, Dedido, Guam. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Ryan Seneklis. it's my pleasure to introduce this gentleman, the host of the show on the bright side, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
We do want to thank our sponsors, and that is our friends from Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's More Life. Great food and memories happen here. Micro Pack, bringing Guam the brands you trust and the service you deserve since 1968. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J, it's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. And GTA, we start with you. Welcome to another Bright Side right here on Wave 105, 671-922-1051 or 1052. We are online, thewave105.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Wave 105.1 FM Guam. Biba Webes!
Biba!
It's Thursday, August 13.
We're almost there.
To the weekend?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the sun is coming out now, right? So
here and there,
a good
yeah.
thing. Yeah. Hopefully it stays like this. Yeah. I don't mind the rain, but as long as we have the sun, we're good. You know, just so we can barbecue.
Yeah. I mean, gray skies is, still a good time for a barbecue. I'm realizing now what the Guam legislature is going to be doing for the next couple of hours, because it was very confusing.
Okay.
Watching this morning's hearing. Again, they were asking a number of questions regarding the budget bill that the governor has sent down, right? So you had Edward Byrne and Lester Carlson. But at the tail end, Senator Chris Dueñas said, okay, we're going to recess, and then we're either going to have an oversight hearing on GDOE, or because Speaker is Dr. Judy Wampat is not well, if nobody shows up from GDOE, then we'll continue discussions on Bill 110S regarding the hospital. So it was...
That's on the agenda, right?
Yeah, that is an agenda, right? Because basically they were going to tell the hospital peeps to just hang out. And if GDOE peeps show up, then you can go back to the hospital.
Talk about.
and so if GDOE doesn't show up, which they didn't, then we'll talk to you. So there was a lot going on.
Wow.
And there's a lot that needs to happen, I guess, in order to have these kinds of meetings set up, because these are big agencies.
They are.
GDOE and GMH, and how dare you put GMH in the corner and just say, we'll call you, but you do need to show up just in case we need you.
I'm just thinking of Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Nobody
puts GMH in the corner. Well, the legislature has.
Yeah.
But they're talking to the legislature now is talking to the hospital.
Okay.
And see, because they are looking to see how much money, should they consider to give the hospital. And earlier on in the morning, it was Lester Carlson that says everybody's got their hand out. So, we have to make decisions, and we have to live with the decisions that we make. Not everybody's going to get what they are asking for. This is the time when all of the agencies do, and the lead up to the budget is when they get in front of the legislature. They are going to have their hand out. They are going to say they need more. But if you don't have the proper appropriations, I mean, to Senator Chris Dueñas's credit, at the very end, he was calling out those across the aisle, saying, forget 5%. Everything that you guys are asking for, you're going to have to raise it to 8 or 9% BPT. And none of you are doing that. You know, he was calling it disingenuous, right? That you have certain senators fighting for these programs and services and more for these agencies, but not actually do the work to find the money to give them. So you could tell that he was very frustrated towards the end. And I don't think they even had quorum for them to recess. I think that's what you can hear every now and then. Former Speaker Therese Chalayi, making some statements. She's off camera though, and I think she was making the statement that, we're not in quorum. There are not enough senators here on the floor for you to call for recess. But he did anyways, and so they recessed, and then we had to wait and see whether or not it's going to be Senator Vince Borja that speaks in front of GDOE or has an oversight regarding GDOE, or we have Senator Chris Dueñas continuing the session regarding the budget with the hospital executives in front of them. And so, like I said, we waited to see exactly what would happen, and now I just turned it on and I can see we got hospital execs instead of GDOE execs. So that's what they're going to be up to for the next couple of hours, I'm sure. 2:15 in the afternoon. Everybody can calm down now. I know everybody has already deleted all of their Pauly songs. I think you can download them again. And the Honolulu Civil Beat published an article about, what was this? Just today, saying prosecutors made a mistake. The Pauly singer, which is Glenn Awong, is not a drug dealer. So there is a statement from Glenn Awong's lawyer. We are pleased that the government now has publicly acknowledged that a typographical error in a prior legal filing may have been interpreted to imply that Glenn Awong, professionally known as Pauly — I've always known the band to be Pauly, not him — may have been involved in drug dealing. Prosecutors in Hawaii have now corrected the record in a subsequent public filing, making clear that Glenn was not involved in or suspected of drug dealing or any other criminal activity. Glenn is not person 3 in this, what is this? This notice to the court. There's a whole document in a case filing, and Glenn Awong never gets mentioned, but for whatever reason, because I guess that the grammatical error, the typo in the court record, has him labeled as person number 3, and then person number 3 is also a drug dealer.
Jeez, I'm suing somebody.
That's
somebody.
That's exactly what they're looking into now. A criminal complaint for a Maui police official accused of bribery. The U.S. Attorney's Office made reference to the host of a New Year's party during which illegal fireworks shot into a neighbor's home. That incident, which Hawaii News Now reported on, occurred at a party hosted by Glenn Awong, also known as Pauly. In the complaint filed on August 6, prosecutors mistakenly referred to the party host as person 3, and then later in the complaint referred to person 3 as a meth supplier. That was wrong, according to the notice to the U.S. District Court filed on Tuesday by Assistant U.S. Attorney Jeanette Gravis. And so The assistant U.S. attorney has already on the record said that he is not person 3.
Mm-hmm.
So the party host should have been listed as person 5. She wrote to the judge, calling it a typo. So, in the 5 days since the complaint first went public, the false impression has spread far and wide. My kids were talking about this last night. And I was worried about the two because I almost thought that they were going to disown each other. Because one was saying that Glenn is guilty, and the other's like, there's no evidence that shows this. It's everybody on TikTok. It's one person that spread it, and everybody is just jumped on the bandwagon, even all the supporters. So much so that in this same article, the Hawaii Reggae Network, an online music streaming service, announced on its Instagram that it would remove Pauly from its rotation.
Gosh.
A popular YouTuber on an account called Connect the Dots with Jenny posted a video discussing the complaint and speculating that Awong was person 3. The video drew nearly 4,000 views in less than a day. I've seen some of these views on TikTok that are more than 4,000 views. Instagram, or the what do you call it? The AI generated videos of Pauly getting locked up or in handcuffs, or singing behind bars.
Oh, geez.
Like, there's so many of those in such a short amount of time.
I've seen a lot of the R. Kelly ones. Yeah.
And so this is all kind of connected to a Maui police lieutenant, Michael Vaitulala. And so that's real. They're in this instance, this lieutenant is being charged with so many corruption charges, right? And so Vaitulala, who's a lieutenant in Maui, is accused of taking regular cash payments from cockfight organizers and suspected drug dealers in exchange for privileged information and protection from enforcement. Vaitulala is being held in federal detention while his case proceeds in court. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for August 27. Vaitulala is currently on paid administrative leave from the Maui Police Department. Maui Police Chief John Pelletier is getting dragged too. So you heard about all of this.
I've been reading.
You've been following it too, right?
Yeah, just following. I haven't really gone into depth on the story.
So during a press conference yesterday, the department would conduct an internal investigation into the allegations against Vaitulala. Hawaii County Police Chief Reed Mahuna will then review Maui's investigation to see if there's anything that we missed, Pelletier said. Maui Police Deputy Chief Wade Maeda said the department is investigating whether any other officers were criminally involved with Vaitulala. The criminal complaint makes one reference to another officer identified only as MPD Officer 2. The complaint says a cooperating witness was once asked to drop off illegal fireworks with MPD Officer 2 on Vaitulala's behalf. If it is revealed that other officers were involved, they will be held administratively accountable by us, he said. When asked by a reporter about his close personal relationship with Vaitulala, if he had any knowledge of the allegations against him, Pelletier said he did not. And then in the press release, if you watch it, he gets offended by it. He says, "I'm almost offended. We did not know." And so the reason why he's being dragged on social media, because they're saying, they're practically godparents to their children.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they're really godparents to each other's children, but he did say that Vaitulala was present for personal moments, such as scattering of Pelletier's father's ashes, but they did not socialize outside of work functions. Never went to a Super Bowl party, never associated at a bar outside of a work function like a retirement or a gathering like that. So Pelletier says, "I'm disappointed, shocked, upset of all of these reactions that each and every one of you have." And he was basically even calling out the media. As Pelletier exited the press conference, he declined to provide a timeline for the internal review or say whether it would be made public once completed. He says, I don't have a timeline. We're going to do it right, and we'll take it as it comes. Now, there have been conspiracy theories, and the internet will take over, and kangaroo court will commence, right? And I've been hearing these rumors of Glenn Wong being a alleged drug dealer for a while now. And so when this case came out, people on TikTok were like, see that? We have receipts now, because he's obviously the host of this party. And in these documents, they label him, the host of the party, as person 3. And then in the documents, it says person 3 is a meth dealer. So it is Glenn, because he was the host of the party. And it all turns out that it's a typo. So now Glenn's lawyers can do some damage too, because clearly his name has been slandered. His name has been dragged all over the place, and so, I mean, there's no evidence that he is what people are claiming him to be. But that's kind of, it's what happens in the celebrity world, right? I mean, there are still people that are very close to Puff Daddy that were seen in these photos, and then apparently after hours there were these freak offs and nobody went to them.
Yeah.
Nobody? I don't know.
My thing is, he does really have a good case, because this actually affects his business in terms of being an entertainer.
Yeah.
Now parents are like, no, we're not buying that CD. We're not going to that concert.
I've seen some people that really love Glenn. I
see,
saw the photos on social media of them at the concerts.
I see potential of millions, right, of dollars, because when you think about it, if he does a concert and nobody shows, that already tells you, regardless of what the truth is, the damage has already been done. Yeah. And so hopefully he gets some good lawyers, but the thing is, he would sue the media company, right, that came out with it.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I think even the state.
Yeah.
Even the state of Hawaii, or at least the county of Maui.
Yeah,
because they're the ones that
put it out. They're just reporting, right?
Yeah.
If it's a typo on the media company, then yeah. But if it's a typo from the state, and then it got through the media, and they're just following
all for damages.
All for damages, man. Whew, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I'll just go to his concert.
I was gonna go anyways. Like, I don't instantly just hate the music. Like, oh no, I will never play Remix to Ignition ever again. Mm-hmm. No, that song takes me back to, when I didn't have no worries. Bills, what are those? Mm-hmm. Mom will take care of that.
I still listen to R. Kelly to this day. Right.
I still cry. I still shed a tear listening to I'll Be Missing You from Puff Daddy. I think of Biggie every day when I listen, and I need that song to help me get through a very stressful day.
Well, I know Sting is always happy about that. He gets like $7,000 a week.
He sure
just
is.
From that sample.
He sure is.
And that's $7,000 a week, whether it's number one or not.
The sad part is there will be people that will listen to this conversation right now that we're having and be like, how dare you?
How dare you like R. Kelly?
How dare you?
I Believe I Can Fly. Come on, I know you guys still sing.
How dare you? How dare you support somebody like that? I can separate.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with Michael Jackson, right? When all those allegations
and they're still just allegations.
And they're still just allegations.
The poor man is in the grave.
I'm still
and
jamming.
The
Rock
blasphemy.
With you? I'm still jamming with Rock With You.
The poor man can't even defend himself anymore.
Billie Jean, I'm down. But
What are you going to do? Take him out of his grave and do like they did back in the day with the priests and whip skeleton bones?
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Thriller right now, right? That video.
Yeah.
Maybe. Halloween's coming up.
2:28 in the afternoon. Obviously we can get into the details of what the legislature, what the senators are concerned about from this morning, and so that is definitely going to cover some things that we'll be talking about today, get us all the way till 6 p.m. But we do have, I lined up the president of the council, right, because they had their mayor's council meeting yesterday. And so we'll get some insight. We'll have some fun with the update, right? I mean, obviously they're talking about some serious stuff, but I always enjoy the conversation with Mayor Jesse Alec, right? And so that's lined up for about 3 o'clock after the AP News, and we'll call him. And then I know we want to talk to all the candidates that are running for the AG's office.
Yes.
And so Attorney Pete has already asked to come in, and so we'll open the 4 o'clock for him to be there. I've got some questions to ask. And then I really want to ask very similar questions this time around, just so that when people go and rewatch these conversations, that they can compare answers, right? And so I have a few questions that I want to get to, and then obviously wherever else it leads to. And so we've kept the entire 4 o'clock hour just for Attorney Pete, and then as we move forward, we're going to do the same for all of the candidates, right? And we have some time, obviously. The election is not until, November 3rd? It's a Tuesday. And so, obviously, between now and then,
I think
we got Jordan, we've got Tom, we've got Doug, and we got Phil.
Yeah. I think we got 83, 82 more days.
Something like that.
Yeah. So I'm already planning it out. I mean, I was looking at the calendar. I'm like, okay, where am I going to place these guys? But at least we're the AG. We're gonna start doing it first, and then I'm looking at probably all of September and October, just peppering in the senators, the senatorial candidates, and then towards the end of October, probably put the 2 gubernatorial teams, get them in here with us and everything. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty stretched out. Yeah, and hopefully the people that I do check answer their emails. And if you need to make changes to your emails at the Guam Election Commission, please do. Because I'm actually starting to send my emails out now.
Understood. There's a couple other serious cases that are in our community, right? Donovan Elliott Carriaga was found not guilty of all charges connected to the 2017 killing of Adam Messier. That has been a case that we've been following for quite some time too. And so, what is this? 2 weeks of testimony and then deliberating for several hours. Yesterday, the jury acquitted Carriaga. And so, he was accused of being involved in the September 2017 killing of Adam Messier. It wasn't just him, though. His father, Jason Alianza, his brother, Curtis Bloss, and Brandon Flaherty were also accused in connection to killing Messier and then burying his body. Carriaga wasn't charged until 2021, about 4 years after Messier's death. According to the PDN, a witness provided information that led Guam police to human remains at a ranch area in Jigo, which revived what had become a cold case. Carriaga was charged with complicity to commit murder. So basically, they didn't necessarily have to prove he personally committed the killing. They had to prove he intentionally participated in, aided, encouraged, or otherwise shared criminal responsibility for it. He also faced a deadly weapon allegation. if he was convicted, he was facing life in prison. And so he was found not guilty. According to Careaga's defense attorneys, the government's case depended heavily on whether the jury believed one key witness and whether prosecutors could actually connect Careaga to Messier's killing. And so his attorney, Bryson Brazil, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, argues that the government didn't have enough evidence tying Careaga to the crime. And so the trial included around 17 witnesses, but the defense says those witnesses still couldn't establish Careaga's involvement sufficiently. And so the attorney says prosecutors had previously indicated that additional witnesses might testify, but they never appeared at trial. He specifically mentioned one potential witness who had left Guam years earlier and said that prosecutors did not bring her back to testify.
Couldn't do a Zoom or anything like that?
I don't know. The defense's argument appears to have been, you're basically accusing this man of murder, but where's the evidence that he actually participated?
Yeah.
So again, they found him not guilty because there just wasn't enough proof to convict him.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, right?
I mean, people are innocent until proven guilty.
True.
So he was never guilty.
Yeah. But, is this like a chalk up as a loss for the Attorney General? Because it seems like everything you're saying, they didn't get their ducks in order as far as their witness list and...
Right.
Yeah. And
well, it is a loss to the family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if an innocent man shouldn't be in jail, right? That's why the system exists.
Yeah.
But those that did this crime, this heinous crime, need to be held accountable.
Exactly.
Need to be in jail. Mm-hmm. All of the people that have anything to do with it, right? And so this is the system that we have. And so I can totally see somebody saying, well, the system's broken because it didn't go the way that they had hoped it to. But I would say, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows at any point in my life or your life or any other person's life, you could be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm not saying, I'm just generalizing. And that's why I appreciate the system.
Oh, yeah.
Because you could just be at the wrong time.
You're judged by a jury of your peers.
Yes.
But all the evidence has to be there, all testimony,
Yeah.
everything. And I think somewhere along the line, the Attorney General's office on the prosecution side at least fell off the wayside. If obviously they charged this guy with this crime, but they just couldn't
put the time and the effort.
Yeah. So did they come through at 100%, or we got 75%? Let's just throw a caution to the wind and just go for it.
Yeah.
And they fell short because the jury decided, look, you guys don't have enough evidence, and this guy, as far as we're concerned, is innocent. So I don't know. I mean, this is something that I'm sure all of the guys running for AG is probably going to point out, like, did they fall short? Did this current AG's office fall short in prosecuting this individual successfully?
Right.
And I would like to hear what Mr. Phil, Mr. Paul, Jordan Paloon, and of course Pete and Tom Fisher have to say about this.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we'll see. I mean, I don't want to just throw that out about the AG because there are a lot of things that could have happened. Right? Okay, they had a witness that left off island years ago. Maybe they couldn't get a hold of this person. I don't know, but I'm not. Again, this guy has been proven not guilty. So
right.
much love to the family. I guess now they're all good, in terms of him. But the sad thing about it is that someone was murdered, and whoever is responsible for this crime, like you said, has to be held accountable. And doesn't look like it's not, something's falling on this case. Because we hear it all the time, right? I know that there was another case where a guy's looking at doing 52 years,
for being the driver.
For being the driver, and this is in regards to the Korean tourists.
The retired. I think, was he a police officer? He's
one?
retired. The
Korean
visitor from Korea.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was retired. I don't think I got to look back, but I know he retired from whatever work that he did. Yeah,
he
was
was
very
robbed.
sad walking over to Gun Beach.
Yeah, and so now the actual shooter committed suicide. So, but they were like, "Look, you were there. We can prove it. You had a lot. You had a lot to do with this. And since you're the guy, a head is going to roll pretty much in 52 years for his involvement in the crime. I think it foots the bill pretty much. But so on one hand, they're successful with this one, but on this other murder case, they're not. So, and it seems like they just didn't get their ducks in order. And I don't know, could it be? Because we hear a lot of people, especially Attorney Pete, saying that a lot of prosecutors are walking out. We see it in the news. A lot of attorneys are leaving the Attorney General's office. The turnover rate. So I don't know.
The system works when you have competent people on both sides.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You've got lawyers that understand the law and put in the work and fully commit to their client. Mm-hmm. And then on the AG side, right, the prosecutors, that they want to make sure that people are held accountable when they commit crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you start having incompetent people on either side, then that's when the system starts to crumble.
Yeah.
2:40 in the afternoon.
Yes, let's take a break.
All right, we'll do that. We'll be right back. There's a number of things that we can cover before we get to the 3 o'clock hour. And then, like I said, once we do get to the 3 o'clock hour, we'll be talking to the president of the Mayor's Council of Guam, Mayor of PT, Pika's Best, Jesse Alec. They had their the council meeting, the Mayor's Council meeting, their monthly regular meeting took place yesterday. And so we'll get those updates from him around 3 o'clock. Keep it here with us on the bright side. This is Wave 105.
Most people think child abuse is a bad parent problem.
Actually, the root causes may be different than you think.
Let us explain. Affordable housing for everyone?
That prevents child abuse. And access to healthcare in every community
prevents child abuse too. High quality, affordable childcare,
paid family leave,
school breakfast and lunch programs.
All of this prevents child abuse.
It's all about keeping families out of crisis in the first place.
Research shows that investing in prevention helps children stay safe, strengthens families, and builds healthier communities and a stronger economy. Prevent Child Abuse America promotes policies, programs, and resources that help families thrive before a crisis occurs.
Because when we keep families out of crisis,
we prevent child abuse
from ever happening.
Go to kidssay.org to learn more. Again, that's kidssay.org. And
let's solve child abuse before it ever happens.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who've served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and urgent care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
The big summer getaway is still raging at Agana Shopping Center. Every $10 purchase is your ticket to massive prizes. You could win a 75-inch TV, a $100 gas card, a 2-night stay at PIC, and more. Plus, you could win up to $1,000 in United Airlines vouchers to fly anywhere United flies. Keep dropping those raffle coupons in the drop boxes and don't miss the grand drawing on August 15th. Shop and win before time runs out at Agana Shopping Center. Must be present to win. See posters for details.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home. Which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
The countdown has begun. Cost You Less is preparing something special for Hagana, and you won't want to miss it. Family fun, live entertainment, community celebrations, and more are on the way. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for details.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
Feeling good, getting things done. Wave 105 FM.
Welcome back to the show. This is the BrightSide right here on Wave 105. Thank you for tuning in. Here's the number, 671-922-1051, or to give us a call. Talk to this gentleman right here, the host of the BrightSide, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
Thanks for hanging out with us
Ryan, did you see what I just sent you?
No.
Okay.
To my personal?
Yeah. I sent it to your personal WhatsApp.
Okay.
It's a poll that was conducted on August 6th through the 10th.
Ooh. Okay.
And so they polled 462 people. And so I see it says Local Issues Research General Election Poll. I have no idea who's behind Local Issues Research. And so the question is, if the general election for governor and lieutenant governor of Guam were held today, who would you vote for? And Tony and EJ are ahead at 49%. Therese and Sabina are at 41%. Undecided is at 10%. If the general election for Guam's delegate to Congress were held today, who would you vote for? And Alicia Limtiaco's at 51%. James Moreland at 45%. Undecided is 4%. If the general election for the 39th Guam legislature were held today, who would you vote for? Please select more than 15 candidates, and they rank them. So at the very bottom of the list is King Cruz at 137. Again,
and who is the
vote 462 polled.
Who is the one in charge of this?
It's at the very top. Local Issues Research.
Local Issues Research General Election Poll.
Yeah.
And this was about 5 days after the election.
Right.
And
And just 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they've got at the top Chris Barnett at 1, Amanda Shelton, Talena Nelson.
We were just talking about
Jesse
this
Lujan,
yesterday. Yeah.
Donna Kanata, Vincent Borja, Ralph Scambaluri, Sean Gumatautau, Chris Duenas, Clint Rigel, Louise Borja, Sabrina Salas Mantanani, Shelly Calvo, Jonathan Savares, and William Parkinson at 15. They have incumbent Telo Taitagui at 17. Angel Sablons at 16, Roy Kanata at 18, Ho Win at 19, Sarah Netadog at 20, Will Castro at 21, Greg Calvo at 22, Angela Santos, Fred Bordalio, Mateo Mortera, Kin Taitagui, Callan Perez, Anthony Tyron, Joseph Areola, and then, like I said, the last person on this list of 30, because there are only 30, was Kin Cruz, which is Captain Kin. If the general election for Guam Attorney General were held today, who would you vote for? Doug Moylan at 41%. Phil Tydinko at 40%, Peter Santos at 3%, Tom Fisher at 4%, and Jordan Pauloon at 2%. So, interesting numbers. I have no idea who this is, Local Issues Research. But obviously, it says plus or minus 4.2%. And all I did was, well, what is 49% of 462 people polled? That's 226 people. What is 41% of 462 people polled? That's 189 people. What is 10% of 462 polled? You know, because that's the undecided. That's 46 people. So, I mean, undecided can still move it. And so Therese Talai can still have more votes.
If she gets that whole 10%, then she
Right.
leads at, what, 11%?
235, so that's above. Now, you know, the chances of somebody getting the entire 10% is not high.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how these numbers are being highlighted or what they're sharing. Because to be honest with you, I feel like I can take these same numbers and just put it into ChatGPT or these same people.
Yeah. Well,
and it would be very similar.
But, you know, we were talking about this yesterday, right? And when you look at it, and the numbers are almost consistent with past elections. So you take the top 7, right? Because it's 15.
Yeah.
You take the top 7 from each senatorial side and you mesh it all together. You know, because you may come in at number 1 on the Republican side, but the Democrats, they're going to be up. And so when I'm looking at this list, Jesse Lujan comes in at number 1 on the Republican side. But on this poll, Chris Barnett still maintains the number 1. And then, of course, on the Democrat side, Amanda Shelton was at number 2, Talina Nelson, then Jesse. And I always said it was going to be between Jesse at number 4 and maybe Clint Rigel. But Donna Canata seems to have the number 5 spot. But it's almost consistent, at least with the first 10. Yeah. So now it's just, you see, this is, I mean, the name recognition and everything, but personality-wise, how you are, how you treat people, how you look at them in public, that goes a long way.
How you treat people.
You know, and then getting your message out. And, you know, because right now, again, people are looking at it, and it just, sometimes it's mind-boggling to me. Maybe I've had this conversation with Dr. Ron McNetch, that some people are like, oh, no, I don't want to go on the radio, or no, I don't want to do that because, you know, it's too early, the time and everything.
Sure.
I'm going to wait for the general. But, man, you should have been running. I mean, look at John Savares.
If you are campaigning for, what are you talking about? Oh, no, I don't want to be on the radio. It's too soon.
Yeah.
Take every opportunity.
Take every opportunity.
Every single opportunity, especially if they're not charging you.
Yeah. You know, take every opportunity to come in here. I mean, someone's like, oh, something came up. I'm like, really? What is so important? I mean, what is so important that you
well,
don't
maybe they have to be in front of another audience, right?
Mhm.
Because you can't be at two places at one time.
No, I get it, but you know, some of them, you know, I had some people text me back, you know, or email me back like, oh, we can't go because you know, we have another meeting or a prior engagement.
Sure.
But they never even asked, can you reschedule me?
Oh, yeah.
Not at all. It's like, no, we don't want to go to Pauly and Ryan. Those guys are deadly. You know,
What?
Those guys are going to put us on the ringer right there.
No.
No, we're fair. You know, we call it out. If you're doing your job, you're good. If you're not doing your job.
I would argue that I have the slowest pitch out of all the people that ask questions.
Yeah, but look at it. I mean, you know, look at it. I think it was, you know, some of them, right? They came on, and then after the show was like, man, Ryan, I don't know why I was scared. I mean, you guys took care of us. It's like, you know,
I'm not interested.
We don't gotcha moments. We don't have those gotcha moments.
What is your plan to address public safety?
Exactly.
How are you going to make these streets safer? And this time around, I will be more honest, right? Because now that we know exactly who is on the general ballot, they are going to be more pointed questions.
Well, you know,
because you can't just simply say, I'm going to keep people accountable. How are you going to do that?
We have Joe Malik.
How will you keep them accountable?
We have Joe Malik, Uncle Pauling, always talking about that one issue of Veterans Cemetery. And now that seems to be in the news of we lost $14 million. You know, hopefully we're doing everything right so that when the grant comes up again, you know, we have all our ducks in order.
Right.
But that was a lost opportunity.
Yeah, and so
these are things that also, I mean, aside from the public safety, the public health, and public education, there are other important things such as the expansion of the cemetery, and then of course veterans issues and their benefits. I mean, there's so many things, and when you don't take the opportunity to at least let us know what you envision to help, you know, these issues out. Or, you know, especially like you said, when it's free. I mean, man, we're doing our part to provide the service. You need to come and do your part and state your case, you know, to our listeners as to why you need to be in the 39th Guam legislature. And judging by this poll, I'm telling you, I mean, if the numbers are real, and I'm hoping it's not ChatGPT, and they did say they polled about, what, 400?
462. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they probably did. However, I've never received a poll, at least in this election.
Yeah.
Ever. And there are so many polls out there. I'm like, no one's ever sent me one. So I don't even know if they're real because I just have to humble myself. Like, I'm not that important because nobody's asking me. But I've seen multiple results, and I've never seen it until the results come out.
Yeah.
Right? No. So I saw the PDN one. I'm like, they asked 500 people. I subscribed to PDN.
But you never.
I didn't get asked. I'm not one of those 500 people. But there were multiple polls that were out. This one too.
Yeah.
This came out. They said they did this between the 6th and the 10th.
Yeah.
No, not me, not any of my family members. Obviously, this is the first time you're seeing it. So Guam is so small. Who's actually taking these polls? Because that to me is also important.
The margin of error is between plus or minus of
4.2%.
Wow, that's not bad.
Yeah. So, because that also matters. Like, I trust UOG students, right? Because they're going to do the diligence, right? They'll do their due diligence. They're objective.
I've been
right?
having...
But if it's the Republican Party of Guam, I'm sorry. I'm like, who did you ask? Other Republicans?
Well,
same thing with the Democrat Party.
I don't think
if
it's
the
a
Democrat Party of Guam did it, I would ask the same thing. Who'd you ask? Democrats?
Well, it would be suspect, right, if it was the Democrats, because it seems like, well, who gets the majority? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, they got Tony at the top, so
4. No, for the legislature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6.
5.
They only have 6, and the Republicans take it.
Wow.
So that would be 1, 2,
I'm not
3, 4, 5.
I mean, I'm not saying that the Democrats are going to have it, but I have it a lot closer than. I have it more 8-7.
Yeah.
And can be 9-6 Democrats.
Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. For all of you guys running right now, look at this poll. It should tell you, advertise. I'm sorry, I got to put that plug in there.
just take the opportunity to be out there more. Right?
I mean, I kind of like, when you look at Callan and also Senator Clint.
They took the opportunity on the Power 98 side to attach themselves to the back to school safety tips.
Nice.
And so that came with spots, right?
And they're running
so
spots
the
here
spots
too as well.
the spots come over here as well.
Yeah, so that's good. I mean, because it gets their message out, it keeps them relevant. You're going to hear names, and then when you start going to the polls, you're going to remember the names that you heard. I'm Callan Perez. I'm Clint Rigel. And, hey, it looks, I guess it's working, right? Because we started playing this, like, right after the election, and they're in. And I think Callan comes in where? She comes in at number 1?
She's lower.
She's lower.
She's at 27.
But when you look at the Clint Rigel, he is known. He's a former senator, so he's going to have the upper hand on that. But it's just consistent messaging, branding, and getting yourself out there. Simple as that. Yeah. That's how you win elections. You don't win by saying, we'll call you and we'll ask and everything. I mean, again, take the opportunity to let everybody know what your plan is, what you envision, should you get in. Because it does go a long way. It does. Trust me.
Well, according to Senator Chris Barnett, because he was speaking earlier today, he doesn't see it 9-6 Republicans. He sees it reversed. He goes, the people have spoken, right? He's talking about the primary. But obviously you can't look at it as all of those people that are above Jesse are all going to get in. And only Jesse will be in the 39. That's not how I just don't see it that way. That's living in fantasy land. So, but I see where Senator Chris Barnett is coming from. And then later on, Senator Chris Dueñas says, you know what? The people will vote how they vote, and I'm going to vote how I vote here on session, and I won't be threatened.
Yeah.
And so he took offense to what Senator Chris Barnett was saying earlier on in the morning.
I want to see it.
Yeah. All you have to do is scroll to the part where Chris Barnett talks.
Yeah. And
then scroll to where Chris Dueñas.
Nice.
And you'll see the fireworks that are not illegal. 3:01 in the afternoon. We'll take the break. On the other side, let's get our favorite mayor in. Well, it's not us that decided. It's Pika's best that has decided year after year that he's the favorite. So, and actually, the other mayors have decided he's the favorite because they elected him as their president. So we'll do that on the other side of these. KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam.
News, I'm Ben Thomas. The Trump administration's latest plan for equipping ICE officers is generating outrage. Jennifer King has details.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement is planning to give officers patrol gloves made by Compliant Technologies LLC that, when a button is pressed, can deliver painful electric shocks through the skin.
It appears to be arbitrary and capricious. It appears to be in violation of a number of laws.
New York Attorney General Letitia James warned about misuse of the devices.
Of course we are outraged, and in the event that a New Yorker is injured as a result of these gloves, obviously there will be a private right of action as well as action from the state of New York.
The size of the purchase, $10 to $20 million, suggests that ICE plans to give the gloves to most or all of its officers. ICE says they want to be sure their officers in the field have the tools they need. I'm Jennifer King.
Tuesday's Democratic primary in Wisconsin showcased the struggle between the party's ideological left and center. Donna Warder reports.
Moderate Democrat David Crowley has won the primary for governor.
Today I stand before you filled with gratitude.
Beating Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong.
Her campaign reminded people across Wisconsin that there are no long shots when it comes to believing in a better future and fighting to expand opportunities to every family.
Crowley is vying to become Wisconsin's first black governor, and in November he'll face Republican Tom Tiffany, currently a U.S. representative endorsed by President Donald Trump. I'm Donna Warder.
Democratic voters chose experienced nominees for governor in Connecticut and Minnesota. The most notable Republican race was a special primary in South Carolina to determine the nominee to replace the late Senator Lindsey Graham. His sister, Senator Darlene Graham, will face Congressman Ralph Norman in a runoff. Inflation slowed a little last month, but consumer prices were still 3.4% higher than July a year ago. This is AP News. In Austria, a Mozart heist. More than 200 little statuettes stolen.
The gold statuettes of Austria's most famous composer disappeared from his hometown of Salzburg, officials say, leaving a tribute to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart on his 270th birthday considerably less crowded. The Mozarteum Foundation had on July 15 unveiled 320 statuettes, each barely 20 inches high, showing Mozart with his dog. They were designed by German conceptual artist Ottmar Hohl. Within 2 weeks, more than 80 of the polymer figures had disappeared. By Wednesday, a total of 210 were missing. The mini Mozarts populated not only the garden of the great composer's former home, but also his living quarters, as well as several pavilions. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
KGUM FM, Dedito. Powered by Glimpses Media.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumont or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and urgent care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
The big summer getaway is still raging at Agana Shopping Center. Every $10 purchase is your ticket to massive prizes. You could win a 75-inch TV, a $100 gas card, a 2-night stay at PIC, and more. Plus, you could win up to $1,000 in United Airlines vouchers to fly anywhere United flies. Keep dropping those raffle coupons in the drop boxes and don't miss the grand drawing on August 15th. Shop and win before time runs out at Agana Shopping Center. Must be present to win. See posters for details.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home, which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
This is where Guam comes to talk. Wave 105, a Glimpses of Guam radio station.
Welcome back to the show, 3:07 in the afternoon. We are KGUM FM, Dedido Guam. This is the BrightSide right here on Wave 105. Let's send it back to the host, Mr. Pauly Suba. Juanes.
We do want to thank our sponsors, Triple J. It's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail and drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. GTA, we start with you. Micropack, heading off island, capture every moment with cameras and memory cards from Micropack. And Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. And Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get the mayor, the president of the Mayor's Council of Guam on the line, real quick, because I threw out some numbers and I was wrong on one of them.
What's the number?
The Attorney General, Guam Attorney General, if it were held today, who would you vote for? I said Peter Santos got 3%. It's actually 13%. I missed the 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Doug Moylan, 41. Phil Tydinko, 40. Peter Santos, 13. Tom Fisher, 4. And Jordan Pauloon, 2%. Again, that's coming from the Local Issues Research General Election Poll that took place August 6th through the 10th. And I cannot confirm who they are. I've been forwarding it out to other people that follow this stuff to see if they can give me information back on who started that poll.
Yeah.
And so let's go to the Mayor's Council of Guam, the president.
All right. Sorry, I have to do it, man. He is my president. What is an off-day mayor?
Off a day.
Off a day, Mayor. Appreciate the opportunity always to get insight on what the mayors are up to, and I learn a lot from your council meeting. Again, the latest one took place yesterday, and so I wanted to start. Right. I wanted to start, if that's okay with you. Otherwise, if you want to start anywhere else, I'm down for that. But
no. Well, you take the lead.
Okay.
I'll answer.
Okay. So we've talked about this before. We talked about this residency verification system, right?
Oh, yes.
And so I heard again that it was Joy Jean Arceo that talked about training that could begin around August 19. And so are we excited about this training? Are we ready to go? Because I still have conversations with some people about the FMIS, and they're like, that's such a headache.
Yeah. No, I think we are excited about it because it actually, it'll help us produce these documents quicker, and we'll have a better database of resident information that's necessary.
Yeah.
And so obviously we're always talking about, addressing Manamco needs, special needs, special accommodations, veterans. We're also wanting to know, village statistics based on ethnicity for whatever purpose. Those are the things that we'll be able to, hopefully track with this new system. And so it helps us produce our reports quicker, and then, of course, serve the needs of the residents more efficiently. I think gone are the days of visiting our offices. You could simply make a phone call, a text message, or even send an email for these requests, and then we should be able to take these requests and send it to whomever you need, because everybody works by email these days. And so all of that will be encrypted so that we could work with Reverend Tax, because that's a big issue. I mean, nobody wants to be in line for hours in a day and then be told that you have to go and get a verification after you've waited all these, hours. So that's kind of the reason for the upgrade and the update on the Mayor's Council side. We've actually been talking about this for several years now.
Yes.
And then, of course, we've had many conversations with Public Health, because Public Health has their own requirements for the aid and the assistance that they give residents for their various needs. So hopefully this works out for everybody. And like I said, this is the beginning of what we hope would be
because you're going to train your entire staff, right? The whole Mayor's Council of Guam, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
because everyone's going to have to know how to use it, and there's going to be, and the other thing too is it preserves the information in the office. Right. And so when my term is up and a new mayor comes in, there's no reinventing the wheel. There won't be any issues with the database, and we won't have to recreate it or start anew. It kind of just moves right into the next mayor, to the next administration. So that's the good thing about it. Again, this is really just the beginning of a series of upgrades that we'd like to have for the council. It's, we talk about GFMIS, and it's like, oh, nobody wants to touch that, and nobody wants to talk about it. But the real deal is that we're going to need to have a better financial system for at least the Mayor's Council, and whether we're connecting to what is existing or, that's definitely down the line.
And so, I mean, obviously you're going to also test it out too, but is there a timeline to expect that residents can expect for this to go live in a year, less than a year, 2 years?
Oh, no. We're hoping by the beginning of the fiscal year we'd be able to.
That's October.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been working on it for quite a while now, and so we're looking forward to it. Okay. We'll see. The trainings do start next week, and then they go on throughout for the rest of the month. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of get all the kinks ironed out, and everybody will be on the same page by the beginning of the fiscal year. That's the goal,
right?
Because we will start the new year with the system. So hopefully it works out.
I hope so too. I can see so many people taking advantage for a number of reasons why you need to get a mayor's verification. Who knows? I mean, maybe there will be some kind of rebate. We get all of the economy is doing so great that they're going to give us $1,500 for every household, head of household, and then we need a mayor's verification so we can, avail of that money. So,
yeah, right.
Remember when that was a headache?
Fantasy,
right? No, that's not fantasy. That happened during COVID, and it was a big headache for the mayors. So it would relieve the headache.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the money being dispersed.
Okay. Got it. But Typhoon Bavi financial reports are due, August 17?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that must be submitted to the governor, legislature, and Office of Public Accountability, right? And so
right.
I know.
So all the offices should be prepared to submit that. Those reports are always they're indicative of our progress, expenditure progress, of course.
Right.
And a lot of times there's what we're seeing is that the numbers have to be explained. I mean, typically you don't have to, but in our case you do. In the government's case, you do have to explain it because it might look like you have a lot of money left, but the real picture is that it's encumbered money that has not been spent. Encumbered meaning there are POs out there that are still waiting to be completed. So those are, that's what we'll see by Monday or Tuesday at the latest because the reports are due on Monday. So, hopefully we'll be able to get a better picture. But the other thing, too, is that we still have the end of the month or the end of the fiscal year to spend the money.
Okay. And is that also connected to what the governor had put out in a release earlier today when she is requesting from President Trump more federal support for the recovery of Typhoon Bobby? Do they take the reports from the mayors and add that? Because I think she's already requested assistance.
I think she's already requested. I don't think she's. Perhaps the report was already inclusive of the money that they gave us. So that was. I'm not sure what the total is, but $250,000 per district office. So, I'm sure she would already consider that entire amount spent. Would we, because we have to the end of the fiscal year, the likelihood of the full expenditure of the money is great. It's not like they cut it off as quickly as Sinlaku. But yeah, so that we'll know definitely by September 30th. Like I said, but I'm hopeful that most of us, if not all, will have already spent their full Bobby allotment.
Got it. And so moving on, right? There was some concern with GDOE and grass cutting. It sounded like there are still some mayors that are frustrated that every time we get closer to the new school year, or even during the school year, mayors are tapped to cut grass, even when they have a contract with a private company to do it. And so, as the president, how are we going to work with GDOE? So, because obviously these companies have gotten paid, correct, through the contracts?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll always want to be a team player, but I also want to say that if you're given money to take care of a specific task, then you should use it, and you should. If it's not enough, then you need to go and ask for more, and you shouldn't rob Peter to pay Paul. And in this case, you're asking for help, and then it hasn't happened this year, but typically what happens is, they say, oh, for the kids, all the students are coming back. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, go and tell it to the Marines, because you don't use the children in August. You should have used the children since October 1st when you had your budget. So, you should have said, well, okay, it's not enough. We need to cut grass 12 months out of the year. Are we going to have enough money? And if you're not, then you need to figure it out, and don't wait until August to make that determination that you don't have enough money or that the contractor, needs more. But like I said, it hasn't happened this year. I think the Mayor BJ and Vice Mayor Pedro, they were just kind of being...
you just want to get in front of it?
Yeah, just to make sure that nobody starts to complain, because... we all have our favorites, right? There's a school that, we have a good partnership. So, hey, principal so-and-so can call and no problem. But then there's some issues where there's a principal or the school and they don't work well with the mayor. Everyone has their personalities. And so when they don't work well with the mayor, then that becomes the issue, because then it's going to be there's going to be, it'll be argumentative as opposed to, resolution based. So, but like I said, it hasn't happened this year, so hopefully it works out. And then I know that the council has been wanting to meet with the superintendent, but, and so I did get frustrated because they've been kind of putting the blame on me, and I was like, well, that's kind of not true because I've been asking. I asked since June, and I even in person said something, and I'm not the one who's holding it back. So
you've been requesting that the superintendent come to one of your meetings and provide a presentation to the other mayors.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, if they're busy, that's fine. I just respond to us and let us know. I'm not going to be barking about it. But the other thing too is that, and then my preferred option is let's just have a work session.
Sure.
I would rather just have a work session than to, I mean, there's no need to make it all public without having to resolve an issue. And if there's an issue, let's work with them to resolve it. And then if we have to make it public, then so be it.
Sure.
But I don't think that we would achieve anything by having her appear at our council meeting because that is, and I don't like that approach, but that's the will of the council. And I'm not saying I'm the Lone Ranger, but I'm certainly the majority because the majority want to have her appear.
Well, because a lot of times, your residents are their stakeholders, so it makes sense that there would be a collaboration.
Agree, and I think that's why I'd rather have a work session and say we sit down and we hash out what our issues are, and then if we're going to make a decision, then that's when we bring it that's when we make it in the public meeting. But if we're just here talking about what our concerns are and trying to figure out, what the best possible, solutions could be, I think that happens when, that happens when we're really not trying to, create a problem. And I'm not saying the meeting is going to create a problem, but we haven't even had a discussion. So if we have a discussion, maybe we can talk about what it is that is bothering us, and then by the time we get to the actual meeting where we make any decisions and we make things public, then we can, come to our resolution rather than to argue it out there in public.
Well, for example,
that's kind of my thing.
For example, I always think about the hard work of the mayor of Dededo with all of the schools that are in his district, right? And when I think that he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't cut the grass at all of these schools, because all of these children, their parents are residents of Dededo and they vote in Dededo. And so when the grass grows super high at these schools, he's going to hear it, not just from the principals. He's going to hear it from the residents. And so while his team is focused on cutting all of and the grass looks amazing at the schools, the grass along the village is being neglected. And so it's just a never-ending fight. And that's only just talking about grass. What about all of the other things that the village of Dededo needs to address, like abandoned vehicles when you don't have all of the resources, and DPW is just overwhelmed by the whole thing. And so you do look to your mayor and say, hey, we're overwhelmed over here. And the mayor and the vice mayor say, so are we. Every time there's one that gets picked up, another one reappears.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, the crazy part is that at Dededo, I think they have like 7 or I don't know. I know at least 7 schools in that district. And it's like, I can't imagine how they would begin to, help those schools. I mean, it just is, it's an injustice to the community, number one, because, the mayor and vice mayor have to focus their attention on elsewhere because, especially when you like to use when you say the students and the children, that kind of frustrates me because, you make it our fault because now we're not helping the children or we're not, so I think really it just is about,
no, because I've seen some of the work that you do just in PT, right? You and I, we talked about because you do things outside of the school environment to provide more for the village children at the mayor's office, after school, during the holidays. There's always something that is happening for your constituents and for the children. So it's not like you're not doing that. You're doing it outside of the school environment.
Yeah, it's supplemental, right? It's and I say supplemental because everybody learns differently. Children, students are in different situations at different times, and certainly the school addresses their need for 8 hours of the day, or however long they're there. But then in the morning, before school, after school, on weekends, they're part of the community. And so what is it that we do for them, and how do we become part of that system? And you're right. That's what a lot of us do. A lot of us have to do whatever we need to do to keep them occupied, to provide services in different ways. Because, I think it's more difficult these days because parents, like you, are a little different. Like back in the day, growing up, our parents always had something for us to do. There was we didn't really have a break. And when we had a break,
and not only that,
we were
but
still working.
If you got a call from the mayor's office, you are in so much trouble. Much trouble. Now, sometimes if you get a call from the mayor's office, you're like, well, leave my kid alone.
Oh my gosh. And that's not even funny. That's the truth. And the mayor and anyone else, it doesn't have to be the mayor, it could be the teachers, right? The teachers, their jobs, our jobs are even more difficult because we not only have to execute our job, but we kind of have to be that parent because there are so many absent parents out there. And it just is not, and I always talk about how we evolve, or we were evolving as a community, as a population on Guam, but man, that just kind of sucks to say that because certainly we had our issues back in the day, but I feel like we're okay people these days. Our generation is going to be dead and gone, and the new generation is going to be something we will not recognize. We talk about even AI. That's just absolutely nuts. Like how that's going to work. I don't want to call somebody out. I was getting ready to do it, but like the younger generation. The real deal is I took a few people and we went shopping because we had an event. And I said, oh, hey, and I remember it clearly. I said, hey, there's 8 patties per pack, and we got 6. How many patties do we have? And you know what they did? They took out their cell phone.
No.
Yeah.
They just didn't multiply themselves?
No. And I died. I was like, are you kidding me? I want to just choke the person. I was like, oh my gosh, holy cow. And this is what we live in.
Yeah.
This phone was going to answer 8 times 6. And I'm thinking, no, this can't be. This cannot be. So I said, that's part of our after-school program. It's going to be flashcards. It's going to be that because I can't believe that you didn't know 6 times 8. So what I'm saying, and I'm just kind of reiterating that our jobs extend from the school and that we want to be partners with the school. And life is a little more difficult because of how we live these days, and the home front is different. And, so certainly we can be bogged down with maintenance, but there's a whole lot more out there in the community that needs to get done.
Sure.
We talk about just even basic life skills is difficult. I mean, and then crime. We talk about crime and how, there's graffiti as not as simple, but as minute as graffiti we might think it is. It's a big problem because those young children who are tagging, they don't understand the ramifications. They think it's okay because they're doing it all over the place. And so now I'm like, I can't. Yeah, we have to arrest them. We have to tell them, teach them a lesson, especially their parents. Oh my gosh. And that goes back to what we do here in the village too. A lot of absent parents, they just let their children go. Back in the day when the street light went on, you better run home. Paul, forget it. Don't look for a light to turn on so they can stay out.
Yeah. When it comes to a community, right, morale is a big part of it. And so, liberation is a big part of our morale. And I saw BJ Terlai, right, of Zotnya. He's the committee chairman on the Queen, Liberation Queen. And I saw how, he was advocating and how passionate he is for the current royal queen and court, right? And so he asked your council if they can if we can forego another liberation pageant in for next year and let the current queen and the court be the court again for the 83rd liberation, right? 83rd?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so, however, I mean, the votes were against him, right? So, what is it?
Yeah.
Is it 15-3? I think that's what I counted. I don't know. That's 18, so maybe it was 16-3. I'm not sure. But anyways, overwhelmingly, the council voted no, that there will still be a pageant. And so I appreciated the dialogue, though, and I appreciated everybody's concerns.
Yeah. So I think that we agreed that, of course, that motion would fail because I think the discussion needs to be, further discussion needs to be had regarding the proposal. I wouldn't discount it completely, but I think we also need to ask ourselves, why are we doing this in the first place? And if the royal court, the 82nd Queen and Royal Court, could certainly make their mark this year and be more than just, a queen to ride on a float. I think that with the brains and the beauty and the the fortitude that these ladies have, I think they can make a difference, and they should probably make a difference. And 2 years ago, when we changed the criteria, and then we also added charity for each of the candidates, I think that we need to elevate that. And this year, Queen Ella, I forgot what the other charity was, but I recall that it was Harvest House was one of them, and there was another. And all I could think about was, man, how could the Queen and the Royal Court really create a campaign to recruit more foster families and to support foster children more, especially because there's over 600 of them and majority of them are tomorrow. How could this Liberation Queen, change the appearance, the notion of a queen, and see that perhaps this queen's role is even more effective and more meaningful that not only do we commemorate our liberation, but we celebrate why we're free. We celebrate why, some people will talk about freedom in a different way, but why we celebrate this liberation of Guam and how that could translate into, something more meaningful. Because when you talk about her charities, these children are not liberated. These children are in trouble. And so I'm hoping, I don't know if I have enough brain capacity to join their next meeting, but I don't want to even steer that boat. I just want to be able to say, hey, if that charity meant something to you, then maybe we should, expound on it and see what we can do.
Well, I also agree too, like what you were mentioning. I also had a conversation with Mayor BJ earlier. Is like, the Liberation Queen doesn't have to just be the queen during liberation. Like GVB and the Liberation Queen can have like an MOU or an MOA and have her as an official ambassador and and be out there even more active throughout an entire year. I mean, your reign is a whole year, right? And so you could do more of that.
Which actually brings me to this question. We're talking about liberation, and of course we did cancel out on the parade, but I know that in December we do have that little night parade.
The Christmas parade.
The Christmas parade. Would you guys be interested, or maybe even talking about it right now? That maybe the villages should get involved in that, Mayor?
Yeah, no, we haven't discussed it, but those are the things that currently exist, and I think that that's kind of why I wanted to have more discussion, because this royal court has an opportunity to be more than what it has always been. And when you look at the other charity for the royal princess was, I forgot what it is, but I know that she's Fanaan Maestrigi Fanizokan. And if that's the case, then we talk about preserving Chamorro language. Gosh, let's go use your title. Let's go use the royal court to promote and to help preserve our Chamorro language in some way. So the opportunities are endless. I mean, we have, like you mentioned, this Christmas event. Well, we're so big on celebrating Mes Chamorro. Well, why can't the royal court, together with Mayor's Council of Guam, do something, for Mes Chamorro that could create that has something tangible, right? So, I'm throwing it all out because I'm saying, hey, just because there wasn't the parade for her this year, it doesn't mean that she can't be something else and something better. Manamko month is in May, and we can work now to plan something for these Manhobin to celebrate our Manamko and to learn from our Manamko. And it doesn't even have to be just the royal court. It could be their peers. They solicit their peers and they become these role models. So I'm just saying that there definitely, we can create opportunities for these young ladies to be true ambassadors of liberation, of our liberation, and truly honor this greatest generation that works so hard for us.
Well, I think the council, along with the committee and all the people that are part of the committee, has done an exceptional job of elevating the crown by including the pageant, because now you have like a question and answer part. You have you've implemented the cultural part in the pageant. So they're very smart, intelligent people representing the island of Guam and the essence of what it means to be liberated. And if they are inspiring those at the pageant in that way, then I have no doubt that they'll inspire so many people when they have opportunities to talk at events.
Right. Exactly. And I think that that's where I'm coming from, is that we just, and that was with the 82nd Liberation Queen, I did, and I know I mentioned it because I made a specific request to the administration to include them to include the Queen and Royal Court in their protocol listing, because because they're supposed to be ambassadors.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the beginning of what I thought we could do to incorporate them into, our government functions. But, I don't believe any of that happened. But, that's talking about what we can do now.
Right.
I
always appreciate these fun conversations, Mayor. Is there anything else that I might have missed that is important for our audience to grasp onto before the weekend? I heard there are a couple of things happening in the village of Zotnya and also Hoget.
Right. Everybody has something going on.
Right.
I don't think that, I do know that there are 2 fiestas this weekend.
Right.
There's PT and San Roque.
Oh, that's right.
So,
yes.
You go out and there's something to do on Saturday for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to go to PT, then you go to Vergara because they're both at the same time. And then, of course, the following week, everybody has something going on.
Right.
So,
there's a car show in Hoget. Yeah.
Yeah, the night markets are starting up. I know that Manilao is starting up and this coming week. So there's hopefully there's more things to do for everybody. That's about it.
All right, Mayor. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the conversation as always.
Likewise.
Okay.
You guys take care. Adios.
Adios. President of the Mayor's Council of Guam, Mayor of PT, Jesse Alleg.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't seen the latest Pika's Best nominations, but
oh man,
it's
he's
not
honorary Pika's Best, regardless.
Right?
He's the GOAT.
3:43 in the afternoon.
Yes, let's switch up right about now. All right. Let me see here. 3:43 in the afternoon, and that means it's time to check in the roads of Guam. Our first look at traffic, proudly being brought to you by AutoSpot. Standing by with the very latest, moving you forward, Mr. Pauly Suba.
All right, looking at these roads, I know middle schools are getting out at this time, so expect some delays and just continue to be more aware than usual with the first week of school, right? Especially when you come across a school bus, even if you're on the oncoming road, right, going in a different direction, when that bus stops, you should be stopping as well. You shouldn't even be waiting for the stop sign to the arm to push out. You should be coming to slowing down and then coming to a complete stop. And just continue to be aware. And you just never know when a kid is going to cross that street too, because they just took a little bit longer to say goodbye to their friend on the bus. And so it's always best to even wait for the bus to start to drive off and then still wait, because there could be a child, there could be a parent right on the other side that is just waiting for that bus to drive off and then cross the street. So be aware of that. I don't really see too many issues. I mean, this is the stuff that we are usually aware of. Heavy traffic, Marine Corps Drive right around the Chief Kapua Park, heading northbound. There are delays because of that traffic light. Same thing over at the ITC intersection. Coming down Airport Road, back onto 1, expect some delays there. There's some congestion. Marine Corps Drive heading northbound, right around the GRMC intersection, either making that left turn onto General Ben Blas Boulevard or continuing on throughout the village of Dededo. Once again, helping you move forward on this Thursday afternoon. That's Guam Autospot. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory on their website, GuamAutospot.com.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumont or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
The countdown has begun. Cost You Less is preparing something special for Hagana, and you won't want to miss it. Family fun, live entertainment, community celebrations, and more are on the way. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for details.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the Evolt 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The Evolt 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. Evolt 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
Hafaday, Guam! The Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association invites you to the Fair Trade Show, Guam's premier hospitality and food service event. Join us August 19th and 20th at the Hyatt Regency Guam from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Experience hands-on training sessions and exciting culinary competitions featuring professionals, apprentices, and pastry talent. Discover new products, connect with suppliers, and celebrate Guam's hospitality industry. Don't miss Fair 2026. Visit GHRA.org for details.
The big summer getaway is still raging at Agana Shopping Center. Every $10 purchase is your ticket to massive prizes. You could win a 75-inch TV, a $100 gas card, a 2-night stay at PIC, and more. Plus, you could win up to $1,000 in United Airlines vouchers to fly anywhere United flies. Keep dropping those raffle coupons in the drop boxes and don't miss the grand drawing on August 15th. Shop and win before time runs out at Agana Shopping Center. Must be present to win. See posters for details.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home. Which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
So, what's your idea of a 10?
I love guys who don't text and drive.
Girls that wait until they're parked to text? Bro, instant 10.
I don't know, but I got the ick when I went out with this boy who texted about driving.
10s wait to send. Eyes on the road, not your phone.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Wave 105, the talk of Guam, a Glimpses of Guam radio station.
Music is a world within itself. It's a language we all understand. With an equal opportunity to those descendants clap their hands down. Because a record has approved, don't make it in the groove.
We're 10 minutes away from the 4 o'clock hour. You still got some time to get into your calls. Give us a call, 671-922-1051 or 2. This is the BrightSide right here on Wave 105. Standing by, Mr. Pauly Suba.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us on the other side of the AP News in the 4 o'clock hour. Our first candidate that we're going to be speaking to during this general election season for the Attorney General's office is going to be Attorney Pete Santos.
Awesome.
So we'll be hanging out with him. But before we get to that, I saw this release from Senator Vince Borja about bringing GDOE, Tizen High, Simon Sanchez, and Cortec together to figure out who's responsible for fixing and maintaining different parts of the Tizen campus. And so we had a conversation with Senator Vince Borja earlier this week, right? Was it on Monday?
I believe so. I think it was Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
One of the two, yeah.
And, you know, on a number of things that we were talking about, and one of those was the concerns of Tizen High. And, you know, they're sharing two schools. Two school communities are sharing one campus. And so I saw some photos as well, what Senator Vince Borja was talking about, and regarding poor conditions, right? And so Vince Borja was mentioning there have been ongoing maintenance and facility problems at Tizen. According to Borja, there has been miscommunication between GDOE and Cortec about who's supposed to handle certain issues in the facility. Part of the confusion also involves the contract for the Tizen facility, specifically which maintenance responsibilities belong to Cortec under their arrangement and which belong to GDOE. And so because both Tizen High and Simon Sanchez are operating at the Tizen campus, it's important that they figure out, you know, whose responsibility is whose. There's also that public health inspection that's coming up real soon. And so Borja is saying there isn't much time left to resolve some of these problems. And so when we look at these public health inspections, they last about a year, right? And so some of these inspections, the way that they spread them all out, some of them, you know, they have to be, the school will start. And then it's time to inspect after the school has started, right? And so they're definitely going to be paying attention to that. And then what happens if the school doesn't pass, right? And which sections, if one side of, how are they going to address that? Is one side going to have its own inspection and then the other side is going to have its inspection? Or, you know, is the whole campus under one? Because, I mean, you only have so many demerits and then you fail.
Yeah.
Right? Like 44 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so in this release, he says that he brought all of these parties together to identify specific problems and determine who's going to be responsible for each one, and then create a plan to get the work completed before the inspection. And so Borja says the meeting basically identified areas that need attention and also established a path forward. There will also be multiple visits to the campus before the inspection to check whether the agreed upon work is actually being completed. And so he's saying that his committee will continue coordinating with everyone until the inspection takes place. And so what Borja is also saying too is that GDOE doesn't own the Tizen campus. We know this, right? It's Cortec that goes all the way back to Governor Camacho.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's something too that I would love if anybody is willing to have the conversation that knows a whole lot about how that went down, right? Because that was a Navy base, and all of the property along with the facilities was returned to the government of Guam, right?
Yeah.
And so who was governor at the time? It was Governor Felix Camacho.
Yeah.
And so how did it get into the hands of Cortec? Did they sell it to Cortec because they couldn't?
I don't think they can sell, because part of the agreement on the BRAC committee, the base realignment, from what I remember, and that was like 30-some years ago, is that the military, in a time of war, can actually go back and take the land back. That is part of the agreement. When they released all this land, and when Naval Air Station was a part of that agreement, I remember.
But we weren't in a time of war when it was turned over.
Yeah, when it was turned over.
Right.
But that was the agreement. And so this thing, I mean, it could be, I mean, I guess war would have to be declared by the United States. And so if they deem that Naval Air Station it's going to be conducive to the mission at hand, they would not even think twice. They will come and get it.
I think they're going to have to think 5 times, maybe even 10 times before they try that.
No, because that was the agreement that, we'll give you this land, but in the time of war, we can take it back.
But you're going to get a whole lot of pushback. It's not just going to be that simple. Like, oh, yeah, take it back.
Well,
it's all good.
The government of Guam signed off on it. And that, it's ironclad pretty much. But that's what I heard. I even remember Governor Carl Gutierrez saying something to that effect, because he was the one that when it was he was still in office when the land was being returned.
So you're telling me at right now, if the Navy says we're taking it back, nothing ever has to happen?
No,
They just take it back?
In the time of
war.
Oh,
yeah.
In the time of war, that they would. Like, for instance, but of course, the war has to be declared.
War where? Here?
No. Anywhere.
Anywhere?
Much.
In Iran?
No, anywhere. I mean, if they declare war and they need the base, for the mission, they probably would.
I think that is true even with the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think you need. That would just say we need it.
Yeah.
Because that's in the Constitution. They'll take your home too.
Yeah, they would.
But I don't think they're going to do it.
They're not going to do it anytime
right.
soon. And again, a war has to be declared, and be it declared by Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Congress, okay, the president will say, okay, we need to go to war, and then declaration of war through Congress.
Yeah.
And so whatever they, like if the mission is
okay, I see where you're coming from, but that's like.
Yeah, but they won't take it anytime soon. I mean, right now there's this conflict going on, right, in Iraq. They're not going to do it. But again, because and of course the war hasn't been declared either. So
if there are mass casualties here, airports, landing fields, hospitals, facilities, that's all going to be taken over by the military. I'm just talking about. I'm trying to get back to. I don't want to get into the weeds of it all. I'm just trying to understand. How did Cortec get all of this property when it was returned to the government of Guam? And now we are paying rent to Cortec to utilize these facilities for GACS, for GPD, for Department of Agriculture, for Department of Labor, for Customs, for GDOE.
It's the leaseback agreement. So you're the construction company. I'll be like, okay, tell you what, I don't have the money, but if you're willing to invest and build this, you can lease it back to us for 30 years.
Right,
and,
and then it's back. It's ours again.
And then it's ours again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes that. I was thinking that. I just haven't I haven't looked it up.
I think they also did that with. See, that's just it. When you go into these contracts, right, you have to maintain the building. That's part of it. And if you're not doing it, then it's a breach of contract.
Yeah, I think that's also some of the confusion. And so I heard some of that conversation as well earlier this morning, where even GDOE leadership was talking about, well, it's not our facility, but it's been provided to you. So you should also take some responsibility. Right? I mean, you're not paying the rent, are you? The government of Guam is. So there needs to be some kind of role or responsibility that GDOE should take, right? Because they're the ones occupying the space.
True.
4 o'clock on the dot. I know Attorney Pete is somewhere around here, so I definitely want to give him the time, right? Are we good?
Actually, we got a caller on line 1. If he can hurry up
yeah.
before we hit the news, that would be great.
KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam. You got something?
Caller in line 2. Buenas.
Boy, Pauly Suba.
Off a day, sir.
Anyway, just because I heard somewhere someone was saying that Teresa Laurie won this election because she was prettier than Lieutenant Governor and all that kind of stuff.
I'm listening.
And I'm like, they were right about that. She is prettier than Lieutenant Governor, but she didn't win the race because she's pretty. She won the race because the people are spoken. You know what I mean?
I'm not tracking. I don't know what we're talking about here.
I'm just saying someone it's like she won this race because the people are spoken men, and they're right about her being prettier. That's for sure. But anyway, like I said, the church bell has spoken, and we're going to walk right in. And this is just my opinion, nobody else's, and it's going to be right around the corner, my friend. And a lot of hopefully good stuff is going to come out of this, because there's going to be a lot of work to be done no matter who goes in. And once it's all said and done with, we need to unite so we can, together we rise, Pauly.
For sure.
Thank you. Hey, Pauly.
All right.
Man, you guys have a nice day.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not tracking. You said something about
the pretty thing?
Somebody's pretty and that's why they won. I'm now getting some responses back that was an opinion that was... I have to read the opinion.
Yeah, no, I thought I saw it too as well on social media. And it referenced former Senator Bob Klitsky. Yeah, saying something that, a pretty face will always get you more votes or something to that effect. And I'm like, hey, that's true in anything. I mean, even in media marketing, right? Would you rather put a guy with a bare belly or trying to sell your product, or a nice, wholesome lady, holding up the product? I mean, yeah, but they were saying, and I kind of read it, and I was like, no, Therese. Therese.
Oh, it's referring to Therese?
Yeah, being
How about she's
face.
just qualified?
Yeah, I'll be the first to tell you.
Well, she's an attorney.
She's an attorney. She's sharp. She knows what she's saying, and I'll give it. I'm not even looking at looks. I'm just looking at, the qualifications.
I gotta read. I'll read it. But to be honest with you, okay. So you wrote an opinion.
Yeah.
And what?
That was it. Nothing else.
Okay.
It didn't fancy. It didn't tickle my fancy.
KGUM FM and Dededo Guam on the other side. I know Attorney P's like, hey, I asked for this time.
I paid for this time.
No, he didn't pay for it. I asked for this time. What's taking so long? Am I allowed to come in or what?
No, not yet. Until after the break.
We'll take the break. AP News, and then on the other side, Attorney Pete Santos right here on Wave 105.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The Trump administration's latest plan for equipping ICE officers is generating outrage. Jennifer King has details.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement is planning to give officers patrol gloves made by Compliant Technologies LLC that, when a button is pressed, can deliver painful electric shocks through the skin.
It appears to be arbitrary and capricious. It appears to be in violation of a number of laws.
New York Attorney General Letitia James warned about misuse of the devices.
Of course we are outraged, and in the event that a New Yorker is injured as a result of these gloves, obviously there will be a private right of action as well as action from the state of New York.
The size of the purchase, $10 to $20 million, suggests that ICE plans to give the gloves to most or all of its officers. ICE says they want to be sure their officers in the field have the tools they need. I'm Jennifer King.
Tuesday's Democratic primary in Wisconsin showcased the struggle between the party's ideological left and center. Donna Warder reports.
Moderate Democrat David Crowley has won the primary for governor.
Today I stand before you filled with gratitude.
Beating Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong.
Her campaign reminded people across Wisconsin that there are no long shots when it comes to believing in a better future and fighting to expand opportunities to every family.
Crowley is vying to become Wisconsin's first black governor, and in November he'll face Republican Tom Tiffany, currently a U.S. representative endorsed by President Donald Trump. I'm Donna Warder.
Democratic voters chose experienced nominees for governor in Connecticut and Minnesota. The most notable Republican race was a special primary in South Carolina to determine the nominee to replace the late Senator Lindsey Graham. His sister, Senator Darlene Graham, will face Congressman Ralph Norman in a runoff. Inflation slowed a little last month, but consumer prices were still 3.4% higher than July a year ago. This is AP News. In Austria, a Mozart heist. More than 200 little statuettes stolen.
The gold statuettes of Austria's most famous composer disappeared from his hometown of Salzburg, officials say, leaving a tribute to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart on his 270th birthday considerably less crowded. The Mozarteum Foundation had on July 15 unveiled 320 statuettes, each barely 20 inches high, showing Mozart with his dog. They were designed by German conceptual artist Ottmar Hohl. Within 2 weeks, more than 80 of the polymer figures had disappeared. By Wednesday, a total of 210 were missing. The mini Mozarts populated not only the garden of the great composer's former home, but also his living quarters, as well as several pavilions. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to KGUM-FM Dedido, Wave 105.1 FM, the Talk of Guam, a proud Glimpses media radio station.
4:07 in the afternoon, and right about now, again, it's about that time we check the roads of Guam as we help you move forward, along with Guam Auto Spot, letting you know where to go and where not to go on your daily commute. Mr. Pauly Suba, buenas.
All right, let's break out the handy-dandy Glimpses radio traffic app here. So I'm definitely looking at heavy congestion again, getting over to Airport Road, getting from Airport Road, Route 10A, onto Marine Corps Drive. I see some delays as well over at ITC. Making that left turn. It's not too bad to get all over to Route 14 and down to Tumon. Trying to get out of Tumon, it shouldn't be too difficult yet. We all know once we get closer to the 5 o'clock hour, pick your poison, whether it's climbing up towards John F. Kennedy High School or on the other side where Tarza Water Park is. Usually it's going to take a while for you. But the usual areas are affected at this time, right? Like over by Chief Kapoor Park, Route 1, Marine Corps Drive, in the Capitol. Once you get onto Route 4, it's pretty decent through Sinahanya, through Salampagu, and then over where Route 10 and Route 4 meet. It's already 408, so I know that there's some construction there. They're doing some paving, and they're also striping and whatnot, right? But that should all be completed at least for today. And then the same goes where near Price Elementary School. Some of that is going on. They usually shut that down, that activity down around 4 p.m. So if you do see any of that, it's probably because, they're just, it's hot out there. Don't rush them.
Man.
They're just removing the last few cones, and then
it is hot.
And then they'll get out of your way. Once again, helping you move forward on this Thursday afternoon. That's Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478 Auto. View their inventory on their website. That's GuamAutospot.com.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Hafaday, Guam! The Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association invites you to the Fair Trade Show, Guam's premier hospitality and food service event. Join us August 19th and 20th at the Hyatt Regency Guam from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Experience hands-on training sessions and exciting culinary competitions featuring professionals, apprentices, and pastry talent. Discover new products, connect with suppliers, and celebrate Guam's hospitality industry. Don't miss Fair 2026. Visit ghra.org for details.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and Urgent Care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
In a heartbeat, you could be the difference.
Mark collapsed from cardiac arrest.
9 out of 10 people who suffer cardiac arrest outside the hospital don't survive.
It took 30 minutes of chest compressions to finally feel a pulse.
Most of the time, it's because no one nearby performs CPR. But together, we can change that. Extraordinary things happen when people take action. A small step, a simple skill, a life-saving moment. HeartWalk brings communities together to create health and hope for every heartbeat. Every walker who joins HeartWalk, every dollar donated, means more people trained in CPR, more research, and more life-saving moments for everyone. Take the first step and register for your local HeartWalk. Extraordinary starts with you. Join HeartWalk today. Find your local HeartWalk at heartwalk.org.
Conversations that matter. Community that listens. Wave 105, the talk of Guam. A Glimpse's media radio station.
.13 in the afternoon. Welcome back to the show. This is the BrightSide on Wave 105. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to send it back to the host of the show, Mr. Pauly. Suba, buenas.
We do want to thank our sponsors, Subway. You got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J, it's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. GTA, we start with you. Chili's Grill and Bar at Chili's. More life, great food, and memories happen here. And Micropack, heading off island. Capture every moment with cameras and memory cards from Micropack. Hanging out with us. He says that he's got nothing else to do between now and 6. Just promise me one thing. We're going to stop at 6, okay?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It's up to that man over there. He's in control. He pulls the levers.
Well, sometimes he answers the phone at 5:55, and it just so happens to be Senator Chris Barnett, and so that ain't gonna end in 5 minutes.
Yeah, they actually took what they were doing down at the legislature that day, him and Senator Chris Duenas, and continued it on the air. So we didn't get off until about 6:30.
Yeah, we went right into Rand's show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as long as you're down, I'm down. Let's do this, right?
We're down for Brown.
Yes, and also give everybody equal airtime. So the clock starts now, and anybody else that's paying attention, you can hold us to it. And so I just want talk to me about the AG's office and what you envision it to be, because I've heard you many times, whether it's with me or just me listening to you with other hosts, right? You have been very critical of the AG's office when Levin was the AG.
Yes. And so, first of all, Pauly, thank you very much. The primary's over, so we're looking forward to the general. And so now the AG's race is, going to happen this November 3rd, and we need everyone to study all the candidates and also study the records. And for incumbents, you always have to look at their track record in the most recent term, the current term. And I say, and I've said this before, we don't have an attorney general because the attorney general is supposed to, one, understand their duties, two, perform their duties, three, respect the law. And right now we don't have anyone at the AG's office that is given the title of attorney general that does any of those three things. So he doesn't understand his duties. He doesn't understand what his job is. So therefore he doesn't perform it. He doesn't understand the law. So therefore he doesn't respect it. And so I have the receipts. How many convictions do we have for government corruption?
Zero.
Correct. Yeah. How many wins do we have in his civil lawsuits against any agency or the governor? Zero. All right. How many? So right now there's a billboard that touts 361 drug convictions. You know what those are, Pauly? Those are the ones where you find a residue in someone's pocket and they admit to it and then enter to a plea agreement. Those are the numbers he's counting. If we count the drug distribution cases, the drug dealers, where he went after the drug dealers, he's lost 95% of those cases, right? He's also lost 90% of homicide cases, right? And then, he's lost all his people. He just lost, unfortunately for the people of Guam, the most seasoned sex crimes prosecutor left a month ago, right? So you got to ask yourself the question, what's going on? Like Marvin Gaye, right? He's asking the question, what's going on? You have Lenny Rapadas that left, right? Former AG. You have Basil Malin, you have Marianne Wolashuk, you have Fred Nishihara, you have Carl Espadan, just the who's who of the institutional knowledge at the AG's office, all left under his watch. And so we have now a acting chief prosecutor who was suspended in Texas from practicing for 4 years. So that's the caliber that we have. And I'm not trying to bash, I'm just trying to expose the truth. Because we have these billboards, and he once famously said, for every one billboard's going to take the place of 3 prosecutors. How has that worked out? I just came from magistrates' hearings. Half the cases or half the charges got dismissed for lack of probable cause. And this is not something that is new. This is something that's been happening, but it's something that he's been gaslighting the public about, like the April Titano case a couple weeks ago. He went on the radio touting it. Well, all the serious charges she got acquitted. It was only the lesser included charges. And he likes to tout that like he won the Super Bowl. So that's what I'm telling people. You got to wake up and smell the coffee. Talk to the legal professionals. Talk to the judges. Talk to the police are pissed off at him right now, because he keeps dropping the ball. They hand him cases on a silver platter and it gets dropped, right? And why? It's because we have, he says, a band of rogue prosecutors, or not. What does he say? Not Renegade. Rogue. Renegade. Yeah, it's more like misfits. Right? A bunch of people that were suspended from other places, they come here, or a bunch of people that never practiced criminal law. They come here, they were civil litigants, and then they're shoved into the deep end and they flounder. And like just today, the judges are wheeling and dealing the cases that the prosecutors are supposed to. Because every single prosecutor on Guam, the local prosecutors, have been They had all discretion and decision making taken away, and that's frustrating the judges to no end. So they're going ahead and wheeling and dealing and doing the prosecutor's job for them.
Well, I've heard the AG many times say, you know what, there's an expectation. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not easy to work with, but I demand a certain standard. Right?
That's great if you are running your own personal law firm. But this is the people's law firm. And we need someone who's competent. We need someone who's has integrity. And we need someone who, just will be able to attract and develop the talent that we need.
So how are you going to be able to attract all of these other prosecutors that have left? I don't know if you're going to plan on reaching out to them to come back.
I don't plan on reaching out to them. You know why? Because they've reached out to me. They've already reached out to me and said, you know what? If you win, please take me back. Right? The reason why they left is because of the current AG. The current, I'll say wannabe AG, right? Wannabe tough guy. The reason why they left is because of him. They are willing to come back if I'm elected, anybody but the current, right? They're willing to come back, but more so if I am, because they know me. They know my leadership style. Out of all the different candidates, I started out as a police officer. There's in careers, you have opportunities for professional development, right? You have it in the police department, you have it in the military, you have it at the AG's office, just not right now, okay? But in the police department and in the military, I went through all those professional development. Right. I sat down with our good friend Sam Kim the other day. Right, I love talking to him. I love picking his brain. I love using him as a sounding board because I have a lot of great ideas that I think are great, but I want him to sort of like think about it and then right and I need an honest broker to look at me and tell me, hey, that's crazy or that's nonsensical.
For
right?
our audience, Sam Kim is somebody that has been paying attention to our procurement system, right? And he
not just much more than the procurement system. Yeah, fiscal operations, right? I mean, he even talked about our housing issues recently, right? So he is very, very deeply invested on our island. I might be taking a little bit of a liberty, right? But he was recently off island, and he shared with me that he couldn't stop thinking about our issues on Guam. Right. So I told him, I said, you're like a lot of people. You guys come to Guam and then Guam grows on you. This community is just a wonderful community and people just want to make it their home. And we welcome all those people. If you're here to help, if you're here to improve, and he is definitely here to help and make Guam better. But getting back to what we're talking about, right? I told him, I said, my leadership philosophy, every time I've been the person in charge, and I've been the person in charge a lot of times, I tell people, you don't work for me. I work for you. I may be the person in charge, but then it's my duty to make sure that you have the training, you have the resource, and that your whole life, 360 degrees, from your personal life, your family life, your professional life, everything. My charge is to make sure that our workplace is conducive to that, and that you are, living a life that is satisfactory and fulfilling. And it's my job as the leader to support that. It's my job to develop you as a future leader. It's my job to make sure you get the training and the certifications that you need, right? It's not my job to yell at you when you do something wrong. It's my job to make sure that you're trained and resourced. Those are the two things that people, you can't expect them to perform if you don't train them and if you don't resource them, right? And so you need to train them and resource them. And that's your job as I have no pride. As a leader, I'm not a narcissist. I don't care about the title. And like I said, I tell people, I work for you. You don't work for me. And we all work for the community, right? And don't call me sir or don't call me general. Please don't call me general, because that is not a rank. I grew up in the police and the military, and the rank structure is very, very rigid, and you know, it's very traditional and ingrained. And the attorney general is no general. That means you're a general practitioner, right? That they're using that label and calling people general. You know, who laughs at that is the people in the military. They laugh at that. Why are you calling that guy a general? He was elected. You know, that's like.
Well, officially, he's not a general.
He's not
officially,
right.
Like, on the record, it's all attorney generals. That's their general.
But the definition and context in
is an attorney.
You're an attorney general, meaning you practice in the whole spectrum, from civil to criminal. You know.
Yes.
So you're a general practitioner.
That's why when there's a group of you, it's attorneys general.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Generic. You're a generic attorney. You're not it's the opposite of a specialist. Right. If someone specializes in IP,
it doesn't transfer over like a general in the army.
Correct.
Understood.
Yeah. So, anyways, you have to respect that. Yeah.
Right, but
I don't want to be accused of stolen valor.
Well, I think we're getting the weeds a lot because still the Attorney General of Guam still oversees the office. So
right.
That's just really what I wanted to have, to focus
right.
on is how are you going to lead this office? How are you going to bring in other attorneys, whether they
they're
new attorneys to recruit
they're chomping
them.
At the bit to come back. Mm-hmm. And then when I was at the Attorney General's office, when I was a prosecutor, a line prosecutor, whenever I had to go off island for training, right, mm-hmm. I made sure to take a couple of extra days on my own dime, my own leave, and go to law schools. And I set it up in advance. I said, look, I'm coming out. Your students are going to be looking for places to work, and what they do is they afford these people that want to visit, they announce it to the whole law school. And say, hey, next week, so-and-so's coming from Guam. He's going to be over here at this location. And so they set you up with a table. Then you can bring all your different merch, right, and stuff. But the point of that is you get to look into the eyes of that person. And they get to look into your eyes. And then they get to ask all the questions. What is Guam? Where is Guam? What's the work culture like? What can I be expected to do? Am I going to be able to try cases right away? Is it going to take 3 years for me to try a murder case or what? So these are all the kind of questions that when you do it in person, it is much more conducive. When I visited Gonzaga, I brought over 7 people from that one visit, right? And I visited some other places, brought over other people, but they come over, sure. which is beneficial to Guam because we then have a full stable, right?
Because I've also heard judges. I mean, Judge Torres has said on the record that there is a shortage of lawyers. That's the whole reason why they have an MOU with the CNMI that they can practice in the CNMI and vice versa.
Right.
Sharing resources.
But that's relative, right? Overall, there's a shortage, but there's a waiting list of people to come work at the public defender and APD, whereas there's lapses over at the AG's office. So let's say there's a short pool of people or a small pool of people, but everyone's on one side of the pool and not the other side of the pool. The one side of the pool that people are avoiding is the AG's office. They go to EPA, they go to GURA, they go to Rev and Tax. All those lawyers that are there now all came from the AG's office. And you got to, again, ask like Marvin Gaye, what's going on, right? And so what that translates to, Pauly, is the piss poor performance that we're getting in the court by the AG's office right now. The cases that are being lost. The cases, it's sort of remarkable that a defense attorney is complaining that the AG's office isn't putting up a vigorous enough fight, right? I want to go up against, equal challengers. When people congratulate me for a win, in 4 out of my 5 last trials, I won, right? When they congratulate me for my win, I'm like, I really didn't do much. The prosecutor just failed to do his job.
If you were, I don't know if this is possible, but if you were elected the AG and you came in, can you go back and look at the prior cases and put out a public report on,
Oh yeah, yes, you can do whatever you want. You can compile all that stuff, right? Right now, there's rhetoric and propaganda that's coming out of that office.
Talking about the catch and release.
Well, all the press releases, all the billboards. Why do you think, Pauly, the judiciary had to come out and correct the record with their stats? Why? Why do you think that is? It's because they felt compelled. Like, hey, wait a minute, you're not telling the story.
I saw Judge Kwan do that during his confirmation hearing.
Yeah. So we're living in a world where our AG is bold-faced lying to everyone. But anyways, so it's a no-brainer. The office needs to be fixed. All the other 4 candidates are saying that. The difference is I've been saying that since 2023. I'm not a Johnny-come-lately. I have been engaged and I've been vocal this whole entire time, not just on election time, right? So people are a little bit more familiar with me because I'm the guy that's always been calling out, trying to speak truth to power, trying to speak truth about the unethical and corrupt activities up at the AG's office, right? Because the legislature who has the power to do something about it are acting like puppets on a string that is being played by Doug Moylan. And so I stand up, right? And people criticize me for my being so vocal, but hey, that's just me. That's my nature. I was always taught to stand up for what is right and what is good. So moving on, the AG's office needs to be fixed. That's a no-brainer. I know how to fix, I've prepared for war. I know how to train up and get ready. I know how to rebuild teams, right? I can fix. But the question is, beyond that, I'm the only candidate that wants to do something about the rest of the government of Guam. I want to do, and you've heard this before, preventative law, right? I want to my philosophy is preventative law. And this is not something that is original to me or that I came up. This is something that I was taught in the military. It's good to be competent and go and prosecute corruption. Right now, we don't have that. It's good to do that. I will do that. But it's even better to prevent it from happening in the first place. And how do you prevent it? You close the gaps in the systems and processes that our government uses. Our government is back, unfortunately, in the 19th century. Not the 20th century, the 19th century. I want to bring our government into the 21st century. And how do we do that? Like I said, we fix the systems and processes. I want, the government to have a virtual portal where all requests for bids, all requests for proposals, everything is all going to live in this portal, right? And we don't have to advertise. I'm sorry. We don't have to advertise in the paper anymore, right? And then we have to do other things too in our procurement system. Vendors, they're going to have to be on a list of approved vendors. We kind of sort of already do that, right? But we're going to have to be on one centralized list. Right now, every agency has their different list of vendors, right? But like DOE has their list, the fire department has their list. Everyone has their own list. We're going to get one list of vendors. And then if you protest and it turns out to be frivolous, you get blacklisted for 1 year. You do it again, blacklisted for 2 years. You do it a third time and it's frivolous, you get blacklisted for 3 years. That's how you get the frivolous protests to stop. But not only that, right? In this portal, the GSA, the Office of the Public Auditor, the OPA, the AG's office, we're going to be able to go in and see where every dime and every nickel is being spent real time. We don't have to wait 3 years for an audit. We don't have to wait for reports. We don't have to worry about Tan Maria retiring and taking all the receipts with her, right? Or you going away on training and the audit is due, or the receipts, they're looking for it, but they can't find it because you're the only one that has the key to the file cabinet, right? That's, like I said, that's 19th century.
That takes a lot of coordination with the agencies too, though, right? To get at that level. No?
It's being done. It's already being done. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, And then what I want to go away from is we don't want a vendor to create this system and then they own it. It's proprietary, and then we're at their mercy. What I envision is for someone to some company, like someone like Sam or who another person, a developer that has that kind of technical knowledge and experience, to come in with the Office of Technology in the University of Guam, build the system. The servers will be housed at UOG, and then it's also going to have to be redundant, right? It's going to be cloud-based also physically at UOG, and then we own it. So they come and create it, teach our guys how to operate it, and then they leave once that's done. And again, this is not something that I came up with. This is something that I seen happen in the Army, right?
Can you put those on?
Sure.
Somebody's on the line. Hafade, Way 105, you're on the air with Attorney Pete Santos.
Hey, I'm sorry. Is it Pauly?
Yes.
Hey, man, sorry, man. I know you are on another topic, man. Is it all right if I can bring up something else, man, or should we wait till later?
Attorney Pete's, we're having a conversation about the AG's office and the possibility that he could become AG. So we're really focusing on that part. And Attorney Pete said that he's going to be here till about 6. Is it?
Okay.
Is there anything?
There's something to do with our education system, man. I'm pretty sure you're going to want to know this, my friend.
Okay, if you can just, I don't want to take too much time from Attorney Pete.
No, let's take it. Let's take it.
Okay, hey, man, Pauly, this is John, man.
Yeah.
So
thanks, brother.
What it is, man, I don't know if you guys, the media, got wind, but I'm a parent of a seasoned high school student.
Okay.
And it's very disheartening. And man, I always call into the station, and I vent to you guys, but this time this is like real stuff that it's very disheartening, and it's very sad in our education. And who's to blame? I'm going to blame all the senators that are, overlooking this, our superintendent, just the school system in itself. So I don't know if you guys got wind, but you guys might get wind later in the media. But, so, my son is a senior at Teason High, and the sad thing, the principal shot out an email to all the seniors stating that Teason High School is officially shut down as we speak due to not passing inspection. I guess they got
about that. We were just talking about that.
So they were getting inspected according to my son since yesterday. They're popping into classrooms and all that. I guess whatever officials.
What will happen tomorrow? What's going to happen tomorrow?
There is no school as of now until further notice. So and this is the thing is the superintendent put it out there during the summertime, even way before the school was going to start, 2-3 weeks, that all 38 schools are all up to par. So why put something out to the media and to the public and assure the community, and then this is all going to happen on the first week? I mean, come on now. I mean, now you're messing with the education, you're messing with the timing. Well, what happens to all these students, that are going through all this, especially these seniors? It's going to throw them back. And then to top it off is if they couldn't get their ducks in a row, then why even open the school, or why even, put something out to assure the community when it's not even true, So, and, the kids were getting an email coming from the principal. They have a group chat for the seniors or something like that.
Right.
So, and it's just very disheartening, man. I mean, bad enough, the education system is in shams.
Right.
The schools are going through a lot, especially with, the charter schools and just the public schools in itself. And then, like I said, to top it off, it's now they're going to, this is something big, and, they got to take this thing seriously. I mean, I was even trying to call Senator Vince Borja's own office, but 2 rings, man, and it gets ignored. So I don't know if anyone wants to pay attention to this, but, as a parent, it's just very, I feel hurt for these kids,
For sure. I can.
So, you know, I
can only
mean,
imagine.
hopefully you guys get a win. It's something you guys can look into.
We got
It's just
win
a very
now.
sad day for Teason High.
We got win now, and so I'll reach out and see if we can get more information. So thank you so much, John. I appreciate this.
Okay, man, my friend. I mean, I hope that, you know, the senators are listening to this. Governor, somebody. You guys got to do something.
Right.
Because, you know, it's so repetitive. Every year it's always like this. You know, and at the end of the day, it's the kids' education, and the kids in itself are suffering.
I feel you.
Okay, I just ended with a note, and I mean, I'm going to pray and hope for the best, man, and, you know, they resolve this issue, like, right now. I mean, I know you had Senator Borah on your station the other day, on your, you know, and he was even feeling it, knowing that he went there on the first day, you know, seeing everything.
Right.
So, you know, my whole thing is why mislead the public and mislead these kids, and, you know, to find out that everything that's been going on and being said through media and, you know, through emails is so untrue. So I'll just leave that at that note, man, and we'll see from there.
All right. I'm going to reach out also to their PIO. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, guys.
I will say, you know, all is it what is it? Demerits that the demerit system
apparently didn't pass their inspection.
All demerits are not created equal. I mean, what is it that they just need someone that's going to be in charge of spearheading of resolving this, you know, and tackle the easy ones with easy solutions, and then, you know, develop a plan for the harder ones. But you know, to use a system like that where it's just a low score that stops things. Like I said, all demerits are not created equal. I mean, are the demerits that are stopping this school from continuing to operate, is it, you know, substantial issues, or is it just like, you know, they need to wipe the windows down? You know?
According to the photos that I saw, it's even overcrowding too.
Mm.
Like the space is limited. Sanchez students were in a gym, not with a teacher. There's like an SRO watching them. So, I mean,
yeah, they just need they need problem solvers. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. And I feel John for the frustration that he's having, because, like he said, is something that happens over and over and over again. And, you know, that's sort of, you know, to pivot off of that, or to dovetail off of that, you know, that's sort of the philosophy that I have about leadership and about changing the way we do things government-wide, not just at the AG's office. We want to set up our agencies for success. We want to give them the tools and the ability to actually be efficient and get their mission accomplished. That's the role of legal counsel that I was taught. You know, when I was coming up in the military and even as in-house counsel, the philosophy is, look, you have a customer, you have a client, and they have a mission. And your job is to help them facilitate that mission. Your job is to help them accomplish their missions. Mm-hmm. And the way you do that is by understanding how the business works, and by helping them problem solve and helping them get over obstacles. You know, it's so easy for an attorney or an advisor for a board or for an agency to say, no, you can't do that. But the question is, you shouldn't be a no. It's how do we get to yes?
Right. Yeah. Senator Vince Borah did respond to me. Teason High School received a D. Jesse is on the line. Hafide, Jesse, you have a question for Attorney Pete?
Yes. Yes, sir. First off, Pauly, it was nice running into you at Foot Locker over the weekend.
Hey, Jesse Mendiola!
Mr. Mendiola!
It was so nice to run into you over the weekend, man. And, you know, I'm glad Peter's on the air. You know, I fully support Peter 100%.
Thank you, Chelu.
He has my vote. Now, my question that I'm going to pose to Peter is actually a question that will be answered for the general public by Peter. I want to know, what are your plans for retention and recruitment? Because there's been a mass exodus of attorneys at the Attorney General's office.
We were just talking about that.
It's no secret. Mm-hmm. So what are your plans on, or how are you going to go about recruiting qualified prosecutors? Is it going to be on island, off island, a combination of both? And, are you going to seek out specific attorneys that specialize in specific fields? As you were saying earlier, with regards to an attorney general is a general practitioner.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
yes, you have to
you know-
fill all the specialties. And then, in a large organization like the AG's office, there's opportunities to cross-train. There's opportunities to say, hey, you've been doing child support for the last 5 years. You want to try solicitors. You want to try consumer protection. You want to try prosecution, right? There's room for cross-training, and also that helps build the confidence and the capacity of each individual attorney, and then they're also a good reserve attorney in case there's a pinch and you need to pull someone. You don't pull someone that has never ever stepped in the courtroom to try a case, right? You have people that have had some experience. But to answer your question, there are a lot of people on island that a lot of attorneys on island that are willing and eager to go to some of the different divisions in the AG's office. They're just waiting for the coast to be clear. Like I said, Guam overall has a shortage of attorneys, but in this small pool, why are the attorneys all on one side of the pool and not on the other side of the pool, right? Why
Correct.
do we have waiting lists at some of the agencies for positions to open up so that attorneys can take those positions? And then why do we have about a 30% fill rate over at the AG's office? You got to ask what's going on.
One would surmise that, let's say hypothetically, hopeful for me that let's say you get into office. One would surmise that the first half of your term is essentially going to be repairing the damage that was caused.
Correct, but it can happen a lot sooner than later because, like I said, everybody wants to come back. A lot of those attorneys that left, they had worked there for decades. That was their home.
Yes.
That was their home, and they held out as long as they possibly could. And they are willing and eager to go back. Even staff, a lot of staff want to go back. I get a lot of messages of support and a lot of questions like, man, if you win, can I come back? And I'm like, absolutely, and even those who are there now, if they want to stay, they're more than welcome. And to answer your question, how do you retain people? Well, first of all, you got to treat people with dignity and respect, right?
There
And
you
how
go.
do you do that? You give them authority. You give them discretion. You don't take that away from them. You're basically chopping them off at the knees, and nobody's going to want to work. A lot of the attorneys that came here have confided in the defense attorneys. Look, I did not know that this is what I was stepping into. I didn't know that this is how it was going to be when I got here, right? And what are the results? A lot of those attorneys that were brought into the AG's office or by the AG's office who were brought to Guam are now where? At the governor's office. They're over at the different agencies. Some of them are over at public defender and alternate public defender, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's
yes.
very interesting.
Yes, it
But
is
that
very
speaks
interesting.
volumes because these are attorneys that were brought from stateside.
Right.
And the litigation that is practiced back there is vast.
Right.
It covers a wide range. So for them to feel that kind of way on a small, tiny island in a small attorney general's office,
yeah,
speaks
and
volumes.
the other thing, Jesse, and you know this, you got to give your folks training. You gotta develop them professionally. You gotta give them, gradual increases in responsibility. People want to feel needed. They want to feel, that their job is worthwhile. Right now, you could send a high school junior to court to take notes, which is what all the attorneys are doing right now. Is they're just there to take notes. They're not there to actually practice law, and the judges are frustrated to no end. A lot of them are saying, you know what? If you can't make decisions, then you tell the person that can make the decision to come to court and attend my hearings.
Absolutely.
Because what use are you here?
Absolutely.
My
Well,
7-year-old son can do the same thing.
I'm glad I asked that question, and I hope the general public, got good information for that. I wish you the best on your attorney general run.
Thank you, Senor.
Anyone but him. That's my saying. Anyone but him.
Right.
So I got you. You have my support, and I hope the people of Guam will elect you into office, man.
Appreciate you, and I would also like to say,
Okay,
you
Pauly,
are.
okay, Ryan, you guys have a good day.
You're an inspiration, Jess, to me and to many others.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot. That's that.
Hua.
All right, we got to transition right into traffic, so let's break out my handy dandy Glimpses radio traffic app once again, helping you move forward on this Thursday afternoon. That's Guam Autospot. Call them up 478 Auto. View their inventory, GuamAutospot.com. Things are picking up. Marine Corps Drive. Now's a good time to ask your boss if you can jet out early. Some of you already did. I don't even think most of you asked your boss. You just left. 4:51, 5 p.m. What's the difference? Route 4, heavily congested, headed towards Route 1. Everybody over at the Boat Basin, too. It's pretty slow there. Once you get through, it's either Route 1 or Route 8, right? Route 8 looks pretty decent. Over by Kenyatta, slows down for you, but not too long. That light turns green for you, and you continue to move on at the Tri intersection. It's not the same case, though, for Route 1. Obviously, more intersections, more major intersections. Right around ITC, things are slow. Things are very slow in the upper Tumon area as well. Mild delays down in Tumon trying to get back up onto 1. Helping you move forward once again, that's Guam Autospot. We'll be right back.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Hafaday, Guam! The Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association invites you to the Fair Trade Show, Guam's premier hospitality and food service event. Join us August 19th and 20th at the Hyatt Regency Guam from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Experience hands-on training sessions and exciting culinary competitions featuring professionals, apprentices, and pastry talent. Discover new products, connect with suppliers, and celebrate Guam's hospitality industry. Don't miss Fair 2026. Visit GHRA.org for details.
Half a day, Aganya. The afternoon slump is real. Why wait? Head over to Aganya Shopping Center and cool down with refreshing boba from Tra Time or a sweet shaved ice from Snowberry. Craving something warm and fresh? Follow your nose to the aroma of Cinnabon or a classic bite from Pretzel Maker. And before you head home, stop by SM Island to load up on your favorite sweet and savory snacks for the weekend. With endless parking and a gazillion choices, your perfect afternoon escape is right here at Aganya Shopping Center. The countdown has begun. Cost You Less is preparing something special for Hagana, and you won't want to miss it. Family fun, live entertainment, community celebrations, and more are on the way. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for details.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the Evo 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The Evo 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. Evo 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
From Jigo to Molesto, if Guam's talking about it, you'll hear it on Wave 105.
Welcome back. I know we're just about 5 minutes away from the top of the hour, but I wanted to touch on another issue, and that's the chief medical examiner. If you're the AG, you know, they would kind of fall under your purview, right? And so we lost 2 chief medical examiners in short amount of time, Dr. Jeffrey Nine, and then also Kenny Sue. Well, he's still here, but his last day is like the 31st.
August 31st.
So
yes.
how do you advocate for the chief medical examiner to get more resources and whatnot, and make that a priority even more so, because the legislature is aware that they have resigned. However, that's not part of the conversation at all when they're talking about this budget.
Right. So really it comes down to understanding and perspective. All right. Perspective, in the grand scheme of things, their budget is under $1 million. We're throwing around $15 million like it's candy, you know, to pay for this and to pay for that. We need to understand, right? Well, that's the perspective part, that their budget is a very, very small scintilla of the overall budget, right? When they perform, when the chief medical examiner's office performs such a critical function, and that's where the understanding part comes in, right? Understanding what is exactly that they do, and understand why have we lost. Again, going back to Marvin Gaye, what's going on? Why have we lost 2 very experienced and qualified medical examiners, forensic pathologists?
Because it's not the money, right? I mean, $250,000.
Well, it is compared to what they're paying in the States.
Is it more than that? I thought we were paying the going rate.
No? We're paying about 60-70% of what the going rate is, right? But then again, they have a much larger office over there in the States, and they have
jurisdiction.
Much more. But then they have more personnel, right? And I think that's the problem. There's 2 things here that are chasing the medical examiners away, because they've come out here and they love Guam. It's not Guam. Guam is not chasing them away. What's chasing them away is, you know, how are you going to do your job when it's just you and the secretary, no other person, right? You need not just the administrator, but you also need your morgue attendants, your assistants, and then you need your death investigators, right? A death investigator is not the same as a homicide investigator. A death investigator is totally different. Then you need your equipment. You need a good facility. You need vehicles, right? The chief medical examiner, it is so understandable why they left. They have to rely on fire department to do their transports. They don't have good working equipment. They have outdated equipment. The facility is falling down. It's leaking. Who wants to work on that? Work in those conditions, even if you're paying me $300,000 a year, right? So it's understanding what the root cause of them leaving is. And right now, we don't have an attorney general that understands that, because if he did, he would have addressed this problem, and he would have advocated at the legislature to fix the problems that the previous medical examiner, not the current one, but the previous medical examiner pointed out. He gave us the formula. He gave us the recipe to fix the issues. We just didn't act on it. And we had an attorney general that didn't understand the problem and didn't go after it, right? And so that's the difference between someone like me who, you know, understands the critical nature. I, as a former homicide investigator, I, as a former police officer, understand, right? In the military, there was also mortuary affairs. The chief medical examiner's office is not just about homicide investigations. It's the daily stuff that all families, your family, my family, everyone goes through. Right. We need the funeral homes depend on that. Right now, Pauly, the death certificates are taking weeks, right? And things can't happen without those death certificates, right? Why is it taking weeks? Because you have a facility and an office that is severely impaired, right? So you can't blame them. You got to blame who's responsible. The legislature ultimately for not funding it, and the AG who is head of the postmortem board, right? The buck stops there. It falls under his responsibility. He's not the one that's going to run the office, but he's got to make sure that the office is resourced and has everything that it needs, because they rely heavily. The Attorney General's office relies heavily. The police department relies heavily. You're going to give the chief medical examiner a budget of less than $1 million, and then you have $5 million in lapses at the AG's office? What is that? Make that make sense, right? Make that make sense. You have all these billboards, all these AG cars, yet you don't have a single vehicle for the chief medical examiner. Make that make sense, Pauly. It doesn't make sense, right? We have an AG right now that's just flashy, and he wants every meeting that he attends, he gets 50 of his personnel, and they're all wearing his getup, right? But at the end of the day, what is that doing for Guam? What is the results we're getting? We're getting acquittals. We're getting cases lost. We're getting 95% of drug dealing cases lost, right? We're getting dismissals. It's all show. It's all hocus pocus. Look at my shiny new cars. Look at my shiny billboards, right? Yet we don't have a functioning chief medical examiner's office, which falls under the responsibility of the Attorney General. He's not responsible to run it, right, but he's responsible to make sure that it's healthy, and he didn't do that.
5:01 in the afternoon, KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam. Attorney Pete says he's got another hour with us, and so obviously we would give the same opportunity to other candidates too. All we have is time. What is it, like 82 days until the election, right? And so we're more than happy to continue those conversations with the other candidates too. But Attorney Pete's going to stick around, and I wanted to start also pivoting to, how are we going to address, obviously, crime, right? And we talked a little bit about that, but I want to hone in on it more. And then, obviously, the procurement with Simon Sanchez. Where do we go now? How can we address that better moving forward with other projects so that we don't find ourselves in the same predicament? And I'm sure there are other things that will come up. If you want to ask a question too, 671-922-1051. But again, it's that time. We can just do away with the AP News. Sure. Yeah, because I wanna maximize our time. So we'll just go straight to traffic again. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. All right. 5:03 in the afternoon. We're KGUM FM, Dededo, Guam, and right about now, another look at traffic. The first look at traffic for the 5 o'clock hour brought to you by Auto Spot, moving you forward along with Pauly, Suba. Buenas.
Okay, let me just reset and make sure I'm not just recording the same stuff. Pull this up again, looking at Airport Road. Slow moving there, trying to get onto Route 1. It's the same issue, right? All the way from East Sunset Boulevard. What is it, like Triple B Forwarders? Is where that's that company that's right there off of East Sunset Boulevard. I see things slow down, and then it's just at a crawl until you get over to Route 10A, staring at Donkey for quite a while. Sometimes it's just better to just roll up in there too and wait for some of that to clear up for you. Over at Chief Kapua Park, I see delays there. It does clear up real quick for you though as you pass that intersection, and then you meet up with all of your friends at the ITC intersection, Upper Tumon, and also the Farmers Market. And so there are some delays there. Obviously, these are all areas where there are major intersections. Attorney Pete's from Jigo, and I don't even see any traffic there once you pass the Isangsong intersection. Once again, helping you move forward on this Thursday afternoon. That's Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory at GuamAutospot.com.
KGUM FM, Dededo, the talk of Guam. This is Wave 105.1 FM, a Glimpses media radio station.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
The countdown has begun. Cost You Less is preparing something special for Hagana, and you won't want to miss it. Family fun, live entertainment, community celebrations, and more are on the way. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for details.
Everyone has savings goals. Whatever you're saving for, Bank of Hawaii wants to help you reach your possible. That's why with our Bank Ohana 12-month CD special, you can earn 3.4% annual percentage yield with a minimum deposit of $5,000 from another bank. Requires a Bank Ohana checking account with an opening deposit of $500. So reach your savings goals with our 12-month CD special.
Anything's possible.
Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. For terms and conditions, go to boh.com/CD special.
Hats Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And to keep you cool, Hats also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and based approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and urgent care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Balanced, fair, thoughtful. Wave 105 FM.
We're 8 minutes into the hour of 5 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. This is Wave 105, the Bright Side with Mr. Pauly Suba. Here's the number, 671-922-1051, or 2, sending it back to Mr. Pauly.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us. We do want to thank our sponsors, and that's Chili's Grill and Bar. At Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. Micro Pack for sound tech and everything in between. Think Micro Pack. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J, it's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail and drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first, and GTA, we start with you. And so we're hanging out with Attorney Pete Santos. He is running for Attorney General for the general election. And so there was a poll that came out. So let me just get the results here, and we're just going to only focus on the Attorney General election, right? So I don't know who they are. I sent it out to other people to see if they know who the local issues research team is. And so they polled about 462 people, and Doug Moylan at 41%, The question is, if the general election for Guam Attorney General were held today, who would you vote for? Doug Moylan, 41%, Phil Tydinko, 40%, Peter Santos, 13%, Tom Fisher, 4%, Jordan Pauloon, 2%. And so Dave is asking, Dave's on our YouTube, and he asks, ask Peter of the recent poll and ask about his placing on the poll. So how do you feel about placing or having those numbers by this general election poll?
Well, first of all, the only poll I care about is my fishing pole. But
be careful!
I know.
You're gonna fall in the swimming pool.
You know, when you let someone use your fishing pole, you watch them because you don't want them to break it.
Or you have to borrow it back.
Yeah. But anyways, when I was very fortunate when I was in one of my deployments. You know, we get trained on a lot of different skills, and one of the things that the units that I worked with was human intelligence. So human intelligence gathering. And so one of the things that is very, very susceptible to undue influence is how your polls are, one, designed, and two, executed, right? So you got to look at it and see how was the poll designed. And how was it executed? Who did it target? What kind of validations were there? You know, and then also what is your sample size? So every poll is like a weather prediction. It could be right. It could be wrong.
Sure.
You know, I think that the most accurate poll is the exit polls, and I think that the only poll that matters is the election.
The election, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and so, I mean...
So I don't pay it, to answer the question overall, is I don't give it much creed.
Okay.
Right? I'm not going to drop out of the race because of a poll.
Understood.
Right? And as a matter of fact, what I go more on is the feeling that I get. I get a lot of great encouragement from folks when I go out there and grip and grin. You know, I am not a politician, Pauly, but I realize that in order to sit in the seat, you have to win the race.
Sure.
And so therefore you have to politic.
Well, you and I have been friends for quite some time, and I've been following you as well because I've listened to you talk to other talk show hosts even before I was a talk show host, right? And so I remember some video footage that you were posting back in the day, only joking that you were going to run, and and then it became serious,
right?
And so from
that was the one at Laddystone Park, yeah.
From my viewpoint, which was hilarious, and you are so very hilarious, but you do have a serious side of you. Obviously, you're a police officer. You're military officer as well, right? JAG,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so being the Attorney General is a very serious title, right?
It is.
Yeah, and so, you know, when we're looking at our AG, the current AG has run on, on crime. Like, I am going to be the crime stopper.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
false slogans, but yes.
Well,
I get it.
You've got people that do want somebody that is going to provide solutions and keep us safe.
Right.
When we look at all of these elected positions, it is the AG that we're going to ask. Most of our questions will be pertaining to how do you address crime?
Right.
And so rather than anything vague, I mean, you're a police officer, you know how to solve some of these issues with a detailed analogy, right? And so can you provide that to our audience?
So back when I was a police officer, we were tied at the hip or joined at the hip with the prosecution. That is, I came back and I was a prosecutor, and that was no longer the case, right? So you got to reinstill that. You got to get the prosecutors and the cops back in the same room, training together, sharing ideas, teaching. I learned how to write a arrest warrant and a search warrant from a prosecutor. That's how, when I was a police officer. So we got to get that back in, so that, and we did roll call training prosecutors went out and trained at roll call, right? A little snippet about the latest development in criminal law, in constitutional law, so on and so forth. None of that is happening, right? And so you have this situation where you're just sending people out there to operate blindly, and then we're seeing the results, right? The results are coming back, and we're losing at trial, right? The prosecution is barely treading water, so they don't even have time to train. They don't even have time to get up to speed on the latest, methods and techniques. And that's something a leader makes sure happens. You make sure that your stable is full, and then you make sure that your line attorneys are trained on the latest and greatest information and techniques, and then you also go and spread the word to the police, right? And you go on ride-alongs. You go to autopsies as a prosecutor, right? Those are the things that used to happen that don't happen anymore, right? You go to the crime lab and you talk to them and you see what they do, so that when you're in court presenting your case, you're not just presenting some abstract idea. You know what goes on in that lab. You know what goes on at that crime scene. You know what goes on in that interrogation room, right? And so I think I'm the most qualified to be the Attorney General because I have the widest and deepest experience out of all the candidates, including the current Attorney General, much more than him, right? And so that's why I am the best candidate to be the Attorney General. And it's that foundational and institutional knowledge that you only gain through experience and practice over decades, which is what I have.
I'm going to ask the question because I'm just going to ask all of the candidates, right? So Attorney General Doug Moylan has said we solve the meth issue by inspecting every single container. He won't let go of it. And I've heard from directors and chiefs of customs, Ralph Scambaluri, when I was talking to him, he said that's just not possible.
Right, and not only on Guam, you ask anyone anywhere in the world.
Right. Yeah. So how does the Attorney General assist customs or work better with customs? So
well, first you have
close those gaps.
First, you have a working relationship. Right now, a lot of the other agencies, federal and local, just don't want anything to do with Doug Moylan. That's the truth.
But they've been deputized by ICE, though.
Okay. Did you see Rodney Sayama at the press release?
No.
How many words did he say?
Not very many. Oh, okay, then zero.
Okay.
I thought I saw him say something.
No, nothing.
You were there. I saw you there.
Nothing of substance.
Okay.
But anyways, getting back to how the question, how do we do this, right? We work smarter, not harder. You got to remember that the cartels, and that's who's involved here, right? The cartels are one step ahead of us. We have to learn their new techniques. It's like whack-a-mole. But you can never let up, right? Because if you stop learning, then they're just going to continue to get one over you. So you develop human intelligence, right? You work smarter with what resources you have. You go after the players, and this is what DEA does, right? They catch a fish, they try to go up and get the bigger fish, right? You don't govern by press release, or you don't run your office by press release, right? You actually develop cases, and you work and you information share with all the other agencies. When I was in the task forces, when I was in GPD, we worked together with the federal agents, and we shared information, right? We trusted each other. We had relationships. Right, and that's how you go at it. And so with the drug problem, there's three things, right? There's prevention, that's education,
right?
Then there's interdiction, and prosecution, right? That's where you try to stop it from coming in, and what does come in, you have to try to prosecute those cases, right? So you need to be competent in both. You need to be competent in stopping it from coming in, and you need to be competent in prosecuting it. Right now, we're not competent in either of those things, right? Well, I'm speaking locally, right? Because like I said, we have a 95% loss rate against drug dealers on Guam, even though GPD handed the AG's office the case on a silver platter, right? Where the ball gets dropped is in the trial. Okay, so we need to shore that up. We need to have drug prosecutors. We don't have drug prosecutors. That was my job at the AG's office. I was the drug and gun prosecutor, the drug and firearms prosecutor, right? And
But
I
we
also
don't have drug prosecutors. I mean, he
we don't
prioritized.
We don't have any. We just don't have anyone with any drug prosecution experience.
Oh, okay, got understood.
Yeah, right. So it was a guy named Matt Phelps, myself, and James Collins. We were the 3 drug and gun prosecutors, right? And then I was also a court partner with Magistrate Sean Brown when he was a prosecutor. And we had a banner year. We had so many wins, you know. We were doing trials back to back to back, and we were just racking them and stacking them, right? And this is under Elizabeth Barrett Anderson, right? Then things took a turn for the south, and you had that mass exodus under Levin, right? And then an even worse exodus under Doug, right? So this is the prosecution division at the AG's office right now is literally flatlined, right? We don't have any competent folks. You look at how many homicides, we've lost. How many homicide cases? I think maybe 9 out of the last 10 homicide cases ended up in loss, right? So that's the problem that we have. So I talked about prevention and education, right? We need to shore that up. That's more so DOE and GPD, right?
That can also be the administration,
right? It could also be, and but that's something we've been doing since. It's nothing new. It's something we've been doing since the '90s when I was in. Right,
An
we had
example of that is GPD's kickball tournament and
right,
Project U.
or the DARE program, right? So
well, AG's got a program. I mean, he takes the kids to the theater.
That's more for child support.
Okay.
Fostering good parentage, right?
Oh, good
healthy
families prevent all of that.
Absolutely,
prevent child abuse, all of that.
Yeah. And then the third part is the treatment and rehabilitation, right? So those are the 3 prongs of the drug, quote unquote, drug war,
Understood.
right? And we really need to get more competent in going after the human intelligence, because that's how we're going to catch it, right? That's how we're going to catch it. Is we need that information, right? And the only way to develop that is to work together with all the other agencies. And right now, nobody wants to work with Doug. They don't trust him. They don't like him. And this is what I'm hearing from the other agencies. So.
And another thing that comes up a lot on social media and whatnot, or when they're responding to some of the news articles, is we're not doing a better job of fighting corruption, government corruption.
Again, that goes back to my preventative law, right? We make it so that I use the acronym EAT, efficient, accountable, and transparent, right? We need to. I want our government to eat. I want our government to have efficiency, to be efficient, to have accountability, and to be transparent. And we do that through the preventative law philosophy, the paradigm shift that I'm talking about, right? So we make it so that every nickel and dime that is spent is
accounted for
in real time, right? Because that's how corruption flourishes. It flourishes in darkness, right? People, the vast majority of people are responsible, they're ethical, they do what they're supposed to do, but there are opportunities for malfeasance. There are opportunities for bad behavior. And that's the point of the paradigm shift that I'm preaching, is we make it so that it's next to impossible to steal from the government, right? It's next to impossible to steal from the government, and it's not difficult to do. One of the pushbacks is the older folks that are so set in the ways of the way they do things, right? And so, like, I had told Robert Camacho, rest his soul, you know, and I think this is also what needs to happen for Simon Sanchez. If you want to get that prison built, if you want to get that school built, you need a team of 2 people. And this is the way we did it in the federal government. You had your legal advisor and you had your contracting officer, right? And then the contracting officer, he's the guy that's he's the experienced contractor. He's the guy that knows the jargon, he knows the industry, right? Then you have your legal advisor to do all the necessary legal reviews, so on and so forth, scope of work, you know, all that. Make sure everything, all the procedures are followed. So I told Bob Camacho, I said, ask the legislature for authority to hire a dedicated attorney for DOC, not an attorney that's going to be there that's also going to be doing HR stuff, you know, all these other things. Just his sole purpose in life, or her sole purpose in life, is the building of that prison, right? And then with a competent contractor that is familiar, or contracting officer, right, that is familiar with the industry. Because
if the legislature doesn't give you that, would you be willing to set aside a lawyer that can focus?
If we can spare, right? But it really should be the agency that attorney should belong to the agency. It should be organic to the agency. And I would give back all the for efficiency's sake, I would give back all the special AG designations that were taken away by the current AG, right? And it just boggles my mind. You don't have enough people, yet you want to take away their ability to do work so that you now have to do that work. It's crazy. It's just counterintuitive, right? But what it is it's he wants control of everything, right? He's paranoid and he doesn't trust anyone, right? So, but that's a problem, right? When you have all that decision making and power vested in one individual, it goes back to that old saying: power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? So you have to give people some authority. You have to give them the ability. They're the specialists, right? The attorneys over at GPA, the attorneys over at GWA, the attorneys over at DOC or whatever, right? They should get deputized. That's really what it was. That's the system that we were using before, where these attorneys didn't belong to the AG. They didn't work at the AG's office. They worked at these agencies, but they were deputized by the AG as a special assistant attorney general, a SAG, right? They were able to do what's necessary as far as approvals and reviews so that they can do their work, right? Right now we have a logjam of all those procurements and reviews that are up at the AG's office. Why do we have that logjam? That's a self-inflicted wound. He took away all the SAG authority, and so now there's no one at Consumer Protection, right? There's absolutely no one at Consumer Protection. You know, I doubt there's anyone over at Civil Litigation, right? So it's just a manufactured dire situation manufactured by one man. And Guam needs to wake up and smell the coffee. The senators need to wake up and smell the coffee, right? Because they fed this beast. They fed this monster. They gave this monster everything he wanted. And this is the muck that he's created, right? And so we need someone like me to come in and, you know, just today they filed another lawsuit, the governor's office, who keeps winning against Doug, that it's actually against the legislature for passing the laws that Doug asked them to pass because they're inorganic. They are inorganic because he asked for an exception to the merit system, and they gave it to him. And so the governor's office filed a lawsuit, or not a lawsuit, but a petition for a declaratory judgment to the Guam Supreme Court saying, legislature, you can't do that. And my question is, how did that get past legal counsel at the legislature? Was someone asleep at the wheel? Because that's plainly inorganic. We have lots of case law saying that that's a no-no. Yet the legislature approved it, right? So that's the kind of stuff that we need to wake up and smell the coffee, because there's actual tangible harms happening to the government, right?
Well, and I also saw the administration or a few senators introducing bills to separate some of the responsibilities of the AG, and so
right. So because of his failures, we're lowering the bar and we're taking work away from him. That's what's going on, right? He says, "Oh, you're taking work away from me because you don't want me to supervise, or you don't want me to watch you." No, it's not that. It's that we want you to do your job, but you can't do your job. So we're gonna have to find a workaround.
So if they pull some of that authority and responsibility away from this current AG, and they do it before you become AG, like, do you agree with that? Do you want to keep the responsibility intact?
At the end of the day, that was created as a safeguard, and as long as it was being done efficiently, and on a timely manner, then it's a great idea. But you got to ask the why. You always got to ask why, Pauly. Why are they doing this?
No, I understand, but it could also, there's 4 years. And so will it hurt you from being a
it takes away
competent attorney general?
No. So that legal review, right? That is sort of a safety measure to make sure that people aren't doing any funny business, right? And so if you take that away, then that's the legislature's, they made that bed, they're going to have to lie in it, right? If there's an increase in funny business, if there's an increase in corruption because of that, I mean, the legislature can make laws, they can always repeal it. Yeah, they can always go back, and they can make it even...
But you are not asking to remove some responsibilities.
No, because when I am the Attorney General, I will perform my duties competently, right? The reason why we're dealing with someone who is incapable of doing their job, and that's why
and you can efficiently prosecute the government and also defend the government when need be.
So,
for example, if there was an instance that happened similar to GRTA or similar to public health.
So here's
and it doesn't have to be the exact issue, right? Because people will argue that there was never a crime to begin with. I get that. But if there is, again, funny business going on in public health or any agency, you can effectively... follow that, what they call the ethics wall.
Let me stop you there, right? Because the argument that Doug was making was nonsensical, okay? He's saying, I cannot defend the AG's office never criminally defended government officers. They defended them in civil lawsuits, right? Okay. Which is taken care of by the litigation division. So if someone is prosecuting a government official, civil litigation is not going to be defending them. They're going to have to go hire their own lawyer. So it's not like two different sides of the AG's office are going to be fighting against each other. So when it comes to defense of these government officers from doing their duties, those are only civil matters that they can be defended by the AG's office. They can't be defended criminally by the AG's office, right? You can prosecute them, but no AG's office can defend them. No one from the AG's office can defend them. So if they're going to be defended, it's only going to be in a civil matter.
Okay, so help me understand, right? Because that was the issue, right? I mean, now I guess we have to bring
the issue
GRTA.
The issue is that and this is the same exact problem that was in the Tennyson case, which was Doug Moylan. Doug Moylan was specifically told the Supreme Court, you are not to be involved in this case. But then there was a whistleblower that said, oh, not only is he involved, he's calling the shots, right? Or they said you're specifically you're not supposed to look at this case. You're not supposed to hear anything about it and discuss it. Then the whistleblower said, oh, no. Not only did he look at the file, he was calling the shots. And then a whistleblower, and so that's the Tennyson cases.
But the AG's office will both defend and prosecute, not necessarily you involved in any side, is what I'm asking.
No,
right?
No. So, and then in the GRTA case, the issue was Doug took information that he got as part of his
and fed it to the prosecuting side.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is that's unethical. That is
But the prosecuting side
nobody should ever hire Doug as their lawyer.
The prosecuting side is his office, though. Was his office? It wasn't a private prosecutor. Or
No. That's what should have happened. He should have hired a special prosecutor. You cannot advise your client to do something and then prosecute them. You cannot take privilege. The issue was he took privileged information and he used it in the prosecution. Right.
So how? I guess
so. That's why I say Doug doesn't understand the law.
What's getting lost in it, right? Because people do think that it is the AG's role, right, to prosecute government corruption. And so how do we make sure that we have the public's trust and get that done so we don't run into this issue where the government is using some kind of loophole and saying, no, you can't do this, and then people get away with committing corruption?
No, so the way it had worked long before Doug came along was the two divisions were always physically separated. Their systems were always separate, and then the lawyers are not allowed to discuss facts and information.
I guess I'm not understanding it. The lawyer here is in the AG's office, and the lawyer here is in the AG's office.
But they're two separate divisions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do understand that
Yeah.
part.
But what he did is he took the information that the civil side got and fed it to the prosecution.
So that's what I'm asking. How do we make sure that as when you're AG, that you have gained the public trust, that these two offices that are with these two divisions
I think
that are overseen by the AG do not talk to each other,
I think,
and that does not happen.
I think it's self-evident that every other AG has been able to do that except this one. Okay. So when I remember when Elizabeth Barrett Anderson was the AG, I as a prosecutor, the only time she ever talked to us was to come over and say, what do you need? Do you guys need more paper? She never came and said, hey, what's going on with this case? Blah, 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 blah. She never meddled in our function because prosecution, just like police, right? We have very sensitive and confidential information. And also we have a very, very solemn mission, which is to prosecute crime. And so she, as the head of the agency, she wasn't the prosecutor, right? She had a chief prosecutor and line prosecutors, right? And so her job, and any AG's job, is to make sure, again, that your people are trained and resourced, right? And that you treat them with dignity and respect. And that's how you run the office. You don't do like what's going on now, which is every decision, Pauly, even on a petty misdemeanor, every single plea agreement, every single charging decision has to be made by him and him alone. And there are folks that are getting in trouble because they didn't wait for him to bless off on something, even though it was routine, right? And they went ahead and filed it or did this and did that, even though it's there's nothing wrong. Right. The problem is he didn't say yes or no, right? And you just can't operate like that, It's just unrealistic. Just like checking every single container at the port, right? You got to work smarter, not harder. You got to target what's coming in. You got to look for the red flags. You got to develop that human intelligence. You got to look for the trends, right? You got to study to try to keep up with the cartels because they're always going to be 2 steps ahead of us.
Right.
But you got to stay on their heels. We're never going to stop them. You're delusional if you think that we're going to stop everything from coming in. But if you work smart, you can get more bang for your buck, right? If we can be self-sustainable and grow all our own food and manufacture all our own stuff on Guam, then we can stop shipments from coming in. But that's just not realistic.
We only have one more break, and so, Ryan, we good? We'll transition over? Yes. Let's see if we can help you out and help you move forward once again with Guam Auto Spot. Once again, 478 Auto is the number. Schedule that test drive. You can also check out their inventory on GuamAutospot.com. Let's see, I got to reset. Oh, there it is. There's the traffic. There's no way there wasn't going to be at 5:41 in the afternoon. Both on 1 and 8 is what I am looking at. Things are slow moving, but for the most part, it is caused by just the congestion and the major intersections. If you see anything else out there that, stalled vehicles, stalled buses, school buses, I saw that on my way to work this morning. And so there was a whole lot of congestion caused by that stalled bus. But I don't see that being a problem right now, at least not on 16, not on 8, not anywhere near the intersection. Obviously, things are slow because of the traffic lights and whatnot. So just be looking out for each other. And just double check Marine Corps. Yeah, a lot of that kind of cleared up in the capital. I do see heavy congestion in Upper Tumon and then obviously Dededo. Long line. Route 16 as well. Getting over to Marine Corps Drive. Once again, like I mentioned, helping you move forward, that's Guam Auto Spot. We'll be right back.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
The big summer getaway is still raging at Agana Shopping Center. Every $10 purchase is your ticket to massive prizes. You could win a 75-inch TV, a $100 gas card, a 2-night stay at PIC, and more. Plus, you could win up to $1,000 in United Airlines vouchers to fly anywhere United flies. Keep dropping those raffle coupons in the drop boxes and don't miss the grand drawing on August 15th. Shop and win before time runs out at Agana Shopping Center. Must be present to win. See posters for details.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the eVolt 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The eVolt 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. Evil 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
Hats Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And to keep you cool, Hats also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and based-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
Where the coffee is strong, the opinions are stronger, and the vibe is always local. Wave 105, Glimpses Media.
.45 in the afternoon. We're spending this time once again with Attorney Pete Santos, who's running for Attorney General. And so I wanted to just give him the opportunity once more to kind of just hone in on anything that we might have missed. And then, focus back. What?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because Attorney Pete is, considering there is a current AG, is there anything, should you get elected and serve as Guam's AG, would you keep anything in place that he's currently doing in the office of the Attorney General?
I'm trying to think, Ryan. I really am. I'm trying to think. I wouldn't go after panhandlers. I wouldn't lie about what's really happening. I wouldn't keep the billboards.
I like the theater trips.
You read my mind. I think the theater is good. But again, is that really something the AG is supposed to be doing, or is that something like DOE or public health or,
I like Eric the Eagle, the mascot.
Yeah. My kids, we went to one of those shoot, don't shoot kind of briefings that he had.
Okay.
And my kids went wild over Eric the Eagle. We still have him. They love him.
Yeah.
So yeah, the outreach, that's something that should be continued, but that's something that was being done ever since, right?
Okay.
But other than that, there's a lot of programs that never got off the ground. The Deport Air program, that's not a real program. That's a misnomer. The numbers that he's putting out there, those are not his numbers. Those are ISIS numbers. Not ISIS, the terrorist group, but ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement. Those are their numbers. The number of actual deportations that the AG's office on Guam has done is actually 0. They do this thing that is not deportation. They tell them to buy their own ticket and leave, but that by definition, that's not deportation. But anyways, I wanted to talk, Pauly, about my why.
Let's go.
Okay, so I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and my 7-year-old son, right? He asked me one day. He goes, "Tata, hafa nagwaha megay na aplatsa na kareta." And he's a young kid, so he's still trying to figure out how to say things, right? So aplatsa na kareta means dirty cars, right? So I was asking him, they don't have time, or telling him they don't have time to go to the car wash. He goes, "No, tien now, atana." So he was looking at all the junk cars. So it's the junk cars. He calls junk cars dirty cars, right? Which they are,
right.
But the junk cars, he asked me this a few years ago. Right? I speak to my kids exclusively in Chamorro. So anyways, it got me thinking, right? That we could be so much better. We could do much better. We have to do better, right? Our government has to do better. And what is it going to take? It's going to take a paradigm shift. It's going to take a mentality shift, right? A culture change. You look at other places in the world, and there are things that we do here on Guam that they just don't do, like harming the environment. My kids, they go to Harao, and one of the things that is really ingrained in the students over there is to care deeply about our environment, about our earth, about our water, about our air, about, everything. And so they're very conscientious. And I said, if this group of people, if this, group of students and teachers, if they can foster that kind of a culture, that kind of a mentality, then we can do that for the rest of Guam, right? And so I want to be part of that positive change. I want to be part of how we change the way we do business in the government of Guam. And I, as an attorney, I believe that the Attorney General's office has a lot of potential to be used as a tool to improve government, how we do our business, how we do our procurement, how we do our fiscal operations, so that we're not wasting millions of dollars, right? Again, one of the ideas that if you have a project, a build project, you have to have a dedicated team, an attorney to do all the legal stuff, and a contractor or you cannot just take someone and say, hey, this is your baby now, right? You have to hire someone who's qualified and has the credentials, right? Not just a political appointee. You need to hire someone that is going to get the job done, because if we keep hey-youing everybody, we're just going to have the same results. Right? Hey, you're going to go be the director over here. Hey, you're going to go.
That's what we were talking about earlier when we started. I mean, the system only works when you have competent people on both sides.
And that's why the patronage system, which is what we have, right? When we have elections, you have to have supporters. And when you win, you have to give them, part of the spoils. Otherwise, you won't have supporters. That's just the nature of the beast. But if you do like Carl Gutierrez did, right, and he took all those, regardless if you
voted for him or not,
or if you ran against him, right? Are you the best man for the job? And I was in the room when Carl sometimes chewed people out because I told you last time this is what I needed on our next meeting, and you didn't produce. So step out of the way. I got somebody else that's willing to do the job if you're not willing to do the job, right? That's the kind of leadership. I was a young police officer, and I was in the room, and I saw that, and I was like, wow, that's a leader.
So obviously there's balance, though, because earlier I heard you say that you're the type of leader that is going to give people the authority.
So the leader, the governor is totally different from an attorney general, right? But what I'm saying is, that kind of leader is what's needed, because you're the one actually accomplishing the mission. The attorney general,
but
right?
If your attorneys aren't fulfilling their role,
right,
you would remove them too.
Correct. But see, we're talking the difference between a political appointee and someone who is a licensed professional. You cannot just say, hey, you. Right? I cannot just go over to Gita and say, hey, you, come over here. I want you to prosecute homicides, right? Or sex crimes. So we're what they call sui generis, right? We have a very special function, right? In the military, we were called special staff. So I, as a staff judge advocate, I had the direct ear of the commander, whereas everybody else had to go through the executive officer and the chief of staff to get to the commander. Me and the chaplain were the only two special staff, and so I didn't go through the chief of staff. I didn't go through the executive officer. I was the advisor to the commander, direct advisor. He was my direct supervisor, no one else, right? And so that's the difference between someone who is and the same thing with doctors, right? You cannot just say, hey, you go over there and perform that heart surgery. So it's a little bit different. Being a leader of professionals is a little bit different from being a governor and having directors and deputy directors and stuff like that. But that's what I'm saying is they need to, and you were saying it earlier, they need to get competent people to do the job. But it has to be a delicate balance because you need people to support you in order to sit in the seat in the first place, right? So you cannot alienate all your supporters, but you should.
Right.
So you should get supporters that are competent.
well, I mean, now you have, this is an elected position, right?
Right.
So how are you going to balance all of that?
So
you
the way
have to bring in.
So no. Here's the thing. Getting back to the way it used to be, right? There were only supposed to be 2 unclassified positions at the AG's office, the AG and his chief deputy. Everyone else is supposed to be in the merit system. And that's what that declaratory judgment petition is about. Because he turned around and he made that office.
He said, I need people that are going to be loyal to me, like they're loyal to the president, like they're loyal to the governor.
See, that's where he lacks understanding. You need people that are loyal to the rule of law. You need people that are loyal to the government. Or not the government, but the people of Guam, rather. I'm sorry. You need people that are loyal to the people. You know, I used to advise my commanders and subordinate commanders, listen, I am not your personal attorney, right? I have 2 jobs. Keep you out of jail, and that's how I do that is I advise you to do the right thing, right? And to make sure that our taxpayer dollars are safeguarded. So those were my 2 jobs as an advisor to a commander. Keep them out of jail, keep the commander out of jail, and safeguard taxpayer money.
Does that have to be reversed by the legislature to start putting back those positions as classified?
No.
Okay.
Whoever's sitting as the AG can go back to the merit system anytime and should go back to the merit system. The problem is you can't bully people if they're classified, right? And so that's why he got rid of all of them, because they're not gonna bend the knee, right? They're not gonna kiss butt because they're classified.
So when you become Attorney General, we're just when okay, because you're in front of me, that's why I'm asking it like that, right? So when you're Attorney General, that's what your mandate will be, is to bring back employees as classified and only go back to 2 unclassified.
Right, and that is that was by the Organic Act. It was designed that way, right? Because imagine if all the police officers were unclassified, right?
Right.
Who's going to get tickets? Republicans or Democrats?
There's only one unclassified, and that's the chief.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. The police and the prosecution are and the AG's office is similar. They exercise authority. They exercise police power, not police as in the Guam police, but the state police power, right? The ability to confine people, the ability to prosecute people. Those are police powers, right? And so you have to have an organization that cannot be beholden to one narcissistic individual.
Yeah.
They have to be able, if I'm doing something wrong as the Attorney General, I want anybody, whether you're a brand new attorney or a seasoned attorney, I expect you to tell me, sir, that's not right. You know, that's why the very first chief prosecutor quit on day 1. Because he told him to do something and he told him, no, you can't do that. He goes, get out of here. Right? Because I'm the Attorney General. You do what I tell you. That's not the way it is. We have laws and we got to respect the laws, and that's called the rule of law. And it doesn't matter whether you're the Attorney General or the Governor or the Speaker or the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice is subject to the laws. That's why we don't have a king, right? The only thing we have is the King's Restaurant, right? Well, we don't have a king. That's why when they said no King's Day, I was like, man, we're gonna have to eat at Wendy's because of no King's Day. You know,
I appreciate this. Is there anything that you want to share?
I'm here, people of Guam, to serve you. I've been a public servant my entire professional career. I've done more things than any of the other candidates. I was a police officer for 8 years, a 4-time combat veteran, Army JAG, prosecutor, military magistrate, adjunct professor. You know, there is hardly anything I haven't done. And so I saw that we need someone to step up. And that's what I do. I step up, I speak up, I step up to the plate, I make sure that I shake the tree, and you know, I hate to see our people suffer and be lied to and be made to believe that everything is okay, when in reality we've gone back about 30 years. The AG's office has gone backwards about 30 years. And so I don't want to just fix the AG's office. I want to fix the entire government. I want to do a paradigm shift on how we do business. And that's how I'm going to fight corruption, is I'm going to prevent it. It's better, it's good to be able to prosecute when the crime is done, but it's better to make sure that the crime doesn't happen in the first place. So I'll be Tom Cruise, right? Remember? Minority Report?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate this.
I appreciate you.
6 o'clock, KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam. I do have an update, right, from GDOE. And so we've been following this as well. While we were having a conversation with Attorney Pete, John, a father of a senior at Teason High, called in and was very concerned because he said his senior got an email from the principal saying that Teason High is closed. And so because they failed their health inspection. So we have it confirmed, this release from GDOE, announcing the immediate closure of Teason and Simon Sanchez High School until further notice, pending correction of deficiencies identified in the recently released Department of Public Health inspection report. DPW has been notified that bus pickup and drop-off services for Teason and Simon Sanchez students are postponed until further notice. Follow-up press releases will follow as additional information is made available. Once again, that's from the PIO of GDOE. And so it's not the greatest news while we close, but I just want to continue to just thank everybody for tuning in. Be kind to each other, especially out on those roads. Adios. We'll do it all again tomorrow, starting with Mornings with Patty and Rolling with Dice. Thanks, Ryan.
Viva Ryan.